What's up, everyone? Welcome. This is Playing in the Stars first episode premiere, brand new PlayStation podcast. I hope you're all doing well. And I've got Brian, aka Shadow, with me. What's up?
What's up, guys? How's everybody doing? Hopefully, everybody's doing good. Definitely excited to be a part of this journey. And what can I say? We all love PlayStation around here.
Yeah. So JD is coming as well. His power went out just before the podcast, so he
Mm.
should be joining in as soon as it's back on. No ways of telling it's going to be 2 minutes or 2 hours or 2 days. We should be on eventually. So, just going to check the chat. We got that Cloud Gaming. What's up, man? With a bunch of ponies, of course. And we got Maker Chaos in the chat. Yo, what's up? Good to see you, man. Maker who was having a little romantic dinner tonight with Dino. So, hopefully, Dino. So, good to see you, Maker. And Spectrum, what's up, man? Good to see you. Hey, guys. So, uh, up to last week, I was hosting Cloud Nation TV. We were a podcast focused on cloud gaming in general. As I've announced, I decided to put Cloud Nation TV on ice and focus my attention on PlayStation. And I was talking with Brian and with JD about this. And oh, speaking of, we got someone else joining in. JD, what's up?
What up? What up? What up? What up? What's good?
Live from all the technical problems of electricity. How's it
Hmm.
going, man? Oh,
Lights went out. Convenient.
so apparently he's still having a bit of issues. So I think he
Okay.
was just trying to connect with his mobile and it disconnected for some reason. So we'll see what happens. So I believe in you, JD. So, uh, oh, I think he's trying again.
uh, uh, uh.
Hello?
They won't let me be great, man.
They won't let him shine.
They won't let me shine right now.
Ah, man. They already
Have
know you
mercy
love
from life.
Sony so much.
Right.
This is Anthony's show talking Xbox.
Fact, man.
So, how's it going, JD? By the way, hope everything is good.
Oh man, everything is going good, man. Just decided to be here, starting to kind of new podcast, kind of old for me and Doc somewhat, but I'm glad to be here. With the place playing in the stars podcast, man. First episode, let's get it.
Hmm.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So yeah, as I was saying, we had the Cloud Nation TV podcast focus on cloud gaming. Not gonna lie, cloud gaming did slow down a bit lately. Like there's still some major players doing their stuff. GFN is still rocking it, top quality. PlayStation's taking their time, even though I know it's not the same for everyone, but for me, PlayStation Cloud Gaming looks like I'm playing native. Like I tried it on my PS5 and the PC app, and it just feels good. There's a bit of echo. I think it's leaking. I don't know if it's Shady or Brian, but anyway. So as for Xbox, xCloud is finally playable where I am, and they're really improving. I know for some people it looks still are. For me, it's just a good experience. It's now very playable. As for some other players, not gonna lie, it's starting to not look so good. So there's Stadia, Luna, and other platforms that are doing some. Well, some are going away, some are doing their own stuff, but that's why I decided to reorient my JD gonna stay in eventually?
I hope.
You keep
Uh,
cutting out, man.
Man, it is crazy, man. I'm trying to switch over to my laptop once the Wi-Fi catches back on. But yeah, but yeah, I'm on my phone right now, so I'm just trying to connect to the laptop once the Wi-Fi stays up.
That's what I
gotcha.
figured. No problem, man. So with everything happening, I decided to turn my attention to a platform I really, really always enjoyed, which is PlayStation. I've been a PlayStation fan since the PS1. And anyone who's been listening to me for a while know I get passionate when talking about PlayStation, even if it's cloud gaming or anything. So decided while chatting with Brian and JD to say, why not? PlayStation's building an ecosystem right now. They're really invested. They got some exciting stuff going on that we're gonna develop more over. Really interesting turn of events happening right now. They got some stuff up their sleeve. So that brings us here with Playing in the Stars, the brand new PlayStation podcast. Ryan, you wanted to talk a bit about yourself?
Not much to say. Been around in the community for a while now. Like I said, I've listened to you guys for Cloud Nation and done all that. I've literally was in the comments. I always, like to discuss with you guys all the news that comes out, especially with JD, because I know he loves PlayStation as much as I do. I like what they're doing. I like what they're going for now, finally, with the Playing in the Stars program. That was my biggest complaint. I would tell them about it because Game Pass, I would get money just for buying games or playing or even just doing searches. And then PlayStation comes out finally with the program I've been waiting for. I already have almost 7,000 points. So I can literally get like $20-something worth already. I didn't think I was going to spend that much, but I have. Let's see. I have plenty of storage on it. The UI is beautiful. They keep adding updates. Discord's going to be implemented soon. They're working on China hero projects for their games for indie developers. They're helping out studios small, just like for Callisto Protocol. So that's things I love seeing in the gaming world is them helping smaller studios to accomplish their dreams or their goals. So definitely a big PlayStation person. I play all systems though, but this is Playing in the Stars, and this is why I'm here.
Awesome. Yeah, and talking about studios, we know Sony for the longest time, like they like to groom their studio, to grow them, shape them.
Yep.
Like some great studios out there that are now part of PlayStation. Like Housemark, for example, which they started with like a little starship shooter game like Stardust.
Yeah, it's all been twin
Super
stick
Stardust.
related. Yep.
Yeah, for the longest time, and then Sony went ahead and gave them a bigger budget to do Returnal. And kind of trusted them into having a more ambitious project. I yet to play that game. It's on PlayStation Plus Premium. I know. I
Man, you're
actually
missing
sold
out.
my PS5. I think right around when it came out, or like it was pretty close to that time. So I had to. Long story short, but I will soon play this game. But I know it looks fantastic, and it's
It's
been a
definitely
huge
good.
success. And so that was a indie studio that's been handed a AAA project, and they delivered. And that's a studio that Sony has been grooming over time and encouraging going in the right direction. And there's other stories like that. Like Insomniac is one of them, where they started a long time ago. They had a good partnership with Sony. Did like the Ratchet and Clank series back in the PS2 era, and they've been like, even though they were third party, well, second party mostly because they had a lot of deals going with one another. They've been growing their relation together. Insomniac went and checked some other platform. They did some VR. They did a Xbox exclusive. Then eventually they went back to Sony, and Sony acquired them. So it's a long history of grooming studios, making them a success, acquiring them, and I love to see that from Sony. They're just growing their family, and lately they've been pretty aggressive. Like they've acquired a lot of talent. It's not been as organic as it used to be, but they've got some ambitious projects. Like we can say it's in response to another main competitor that's doing a lot of acquisition at the same time. But there's a lot of movement going on. And last year, I'd have to check back that interview, but the CEO over at Sony Entertainment did an interview explaining that Sony's main direction from now on for Sony Entertainment would be the metaverse, and PlayStation would be a main keystone out of that. So, and they were mentioning their partnership with Fortnite that they have, that They're bringing all kind of elements from Sony Pictures, Sony Music into the game, and some of their properties. So they want to push on that. So having games interact with other mediums, they got a lot of movies coming. Some that already came out and some that are coming. Last of Us TV show coming out soon. That looks amazing. So Sony's going all out, and it's going to be interesting to see that develop. So that's why I think it's the right time right now to switch the gears, focus on what we really love, which is PlayStation. So it's going to be interesting times. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I mean, they have a lot in the work, like you said, but for me, the most exciting is definitely the partnerships they've done with all the streaming studio services, like Amazon. I think they got God of War, Gran Turismo might be under Amazon as well, or I forget which other one they did. They have one under Netflix. They have a lot going on for them, so it's going
They
to
got a
be.
bunch of HP as well.
And the biggest thing for me that they bought out, and this was I think last year, was anime, Crunchyroll, using that in their pocket, phenomenal. This way, they have a lot of revenue streaming coming through, and they can utilize those funds, spread them out, whether they want to use it for their electronics, for the TVs, hardware, R&D, or if they want to use it for their game studios. They have a lot of potential now because, as we've mentioned before, unlike the competitors, they don't have that huge of a money pool to be going into. But they do have a lot of investors. They do have a lot of other revenues coming in. And they're taking their time to, get out quality products out the door. So definitely excited for Sony and what they have in stores, especially live service games. If they bring back SOCOM, that can be a live service game. They have experienced developers that worked on Battlefield and whatnot, even Call of Duty. So who knows? For me, I feel like they have a lot of potential, especially with Bungie in their pocket. I can see big things happening for them.
I'm just going to verify because right now JD says he's in the waiting room, but it doesn't show. Might just be my browser that's glitching right now. Won't be long. Just check if I can load it on another window. Yeah, JD, I don't. Oh, is it coming on? Nope. I'll just refresh for a second. My camera might leave, and I'll be back right in a second.
All right.
It won't be long. Here we are, and JD is there, so it definitely was my browser that was.
There we go.
Sorry about that, JD.
All right, there it is.
Mr.
Yep, no
Sony
worries.
partner in crime. We needed you.
Like that.
For sure.
Hey, what's up, JD? Good to see you, man.
Hey, what's up, man? I think it was the Xbox.
Now.
No. Oh man, I think I came from Anthony's stream, so it must have been the Xbox talk that that caught on. That caught on. But yeah, man. I'm glad to have Brian here, man. Like he said, like we've been chatting before, long for a while now, talking about PlayStation games and stuff like that. And me and Doc are definitely some PlayStation fans. And yeah, we just, hey, Dino Jack, what's up? We definitely just have a love for the games that PlayStation puts out. And if you know PlayStation and their history, PS1, PS2, PS3, PS4, JRPGs are like the thing or one of the things that they're known for. Starting off with the PS1 with Final Fantasy VII and Xenogears and things of that. And so we just have a love for the history of PlayStation titles and the type of games that they're putting out. So yeah, this podcast right here was just focused on talking about, our our thoughts and opinions about the platform itself, where it's going, even talking about where it's been, and just hopefully give you guys some more insight and hopefully help you make good purchase decision, whether you want to buy a certain title for PlayStation, whether you're looking out to see what the next move they're making. If you're interested in like the VR2 they got coming up and different things of that nature. So yeah, just hope you guys enjoy the show.
Awesome. So, yep, this is Play Under Stars. Welcome everyone. It's awesome. We got a lot of good conversation on the way, I think. So, Sony is definitely in a good spot right now. So, any news in particular you guys wanted to start with? There's been a lot popping on lately.
Where do you even start? That's a better question.
It was a lot.
There's been a lot. Here's one thing that just happened over the weekend that I personally have been having fun with. Fortnite has got the update, and it's pretty epic. So they switched to the Unreal Engine 5.1. Yep. Pun unintended. But yeah, they switched over to the latest edition of the Epic Engine 5.1. They added a bunch of features like the Nanite light diffusion for ray tracing, and it is like, for having played before and after the event, the Fracture event, it's quite a difference. It looks like two different games. It's that much of a gap. So it's really looking good. I've been enjoying my time with it. So it can actually put on.
For me, it's the shadows, man. The lumens that they were mentioning, because I looked at the video about going over the tools that they now provide within the new update. And the lumens was the biggest thing for me. It's because they were moving the objects like a chair and how the shadow reflects off of it, the lighting that comes in through the room if they were to open up the windows and whatnot. There you go. That looks insane. And that's actually how it looks in game. It's not one of those things where they'll glorify it off of a trailer or whatnot. And then once you actually get the game, it's like crap. No, it literally looks just like that. So Epic did amazing with that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to drop in. I haven't had a chance to play it yet. I think I saw Vet. Well, I saw you guys do a stream, and then I saw Vet.
Vet was complaining about it.
Vet was complaining because he no longer knows the map, and there's a bunch of stuff going on.
No, it's the NFL
look
event.
At the fusion of the lights here, like it's crazy.
That looks totally insane. Now that's a next gen update.
Here's the sad thing: it's an old game, mind you, but yet the fact me and Doc were just talking about it, they updated with one little patch within their own built-in engine, and boom, it's literally the only next gen game out there. I don't care about console wars. I don't care what people have to say. If we were to break it down about the tools that they provide, the outcome of the graphics and the engine behind it, it's literally what next gen is.
Yeah.
And imagine with all the boosts that they're having with AMD, and on top of that with the Unreal Engine 5. Imagine what we're actually going to get finally next year. Whether it be Sony with Spider-Man 2 or Wolverine, it's going to be insane.
Yeah, Sony made a good investment with Epic. And
was it 1 million?
I think it was like a million investment. It might have been
more.
A little bit.
It's additional.
Was it more?
There's more
they
total.
Made multiple investments with them.
Yeah.
They
added another million or so.
Yeah, and so they know like Sony knows good development. They have an eye for talent and like what tools are needed, and they see potential, and that's just a little snippet of what Epic is capable of doing, what that Unreal Engine is capable of doing. So yeah, I definitely can't wait to these games start utilizing that 5.1.
Imagine if Madden went to Unreal Engine. Man.
Yeah.
No more houses popping up on the field.
Right. No more Frostbite.
The Unreal Engine is one of the most it's easy to use. You can code pretty much whatever you want in it. It's really open, and
You actually hold your hand in it as well.
Hmm?
They actually hold your hand. I've actually messed with it way
Oh,
back,
yeah.
even in Unreal Engine 4, just to mess around and try to make a little small game. And even to do the programming for movement or any action, they will hold your hand and guide you throughout the whole thing.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
yeah.
start like they got multiple templates you can play
Yep.
with, and they explain
Mhm.
you how to modify things to have exactly what you want. They come with a full course on every single little elements in
Yeah.
game design. Like you don't have to go to school. If you want, you can just follow what they have available on hand, and they fully train you within the tools that they provide you. They give you everything you need to know about how to design like your graphics, how to design like your light diffusion, which is a big thing. How
Mm-hmm.
to optimize
Yeah.
it, which is one of the big thing they added to the latest Fortnite update. So pretty much anything they provide you the tools, they guide you toward improving on how to use them and properly using them in your games that you're or whatever project you're developing. So that is fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
So
Which explains why
Oh.
the China Hero Project games that Sony is investing in, what is it, like we mentioned or talked about, Lost Soul aside, that they just dropped a trailer today, the new one. That's utilizing the Unreal Engine. Now they might move it to the Unreal Engine 5 because again, Sony is invested in it instead of the 4. And now that they actually put it more funds into the studio, expanded it, gave them more of a budget, just imagine how the quality of that game is going to be by next year.
Oh,
It's,
yeah.
yeah, it's gonna
it's
be
impressive.
interesting.
Yeah. It's that.
Just
It's
trying to load up a video that came out.
Yeah, definitely impressive stuff. And I think a lot of people knew, like, even beginning before the new consoles came out, they was like promoting Unreal
Yep, the
Engine and
showcasing.
just they had a whole showcase of the type of games prior to next gen coming out, and now that they're here, now they did a bunch of updates behind the scenes. It's just going to be even more impressive.
But in that showcase, wasn't it only the Unreal Engine 4? And it was that trailer with the girl walking through the desert or the rocks or something like that. And next thing you know, they were showing the physics of it, how it can be look next gen with the new AMD chips and all that. But
Yeah,
now with the Unreal Engine 5, it's ridiculous. Just play Fortnite and you'll see.
yeah, I definitely gotta hop on that.
I was impressed. Yep, there it
It's
is.
Lost Soul aside.
Single developer into a full studio.
That's one dev.
It was one dev who worked on it, and Sony finally picked him up. They helped him out, gave him a whole budget, studios, more employees to help him finish the product, and there you go.
Oh man,
That
that's
is
awesome.
looking fantastic.
Yeah.
What type of game? So RPG?
It's an action RPG.
Action
Yep.
RPG, yeah.
Nope.
And you can tell by
it's
Unreal Engine,
my
all
old
those
laptop,
elements.
but-
Yeah.
Like, look at that. That's just now. That's still in development.
Yeah. That's
That looks
crazy.
fantastic.
For one person, for one dev, that's insane.
Well, now it's multiple people, but back then it was just him doing this as a side gig, little project, and it blew up.
Good job.
Wow.
Definitely. Yeah, this.
But it does remind me of what's it called? Forspoken for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did. It did. It did.
Very similar style. That's what I was thinking in the beginning. It's like looks a lot like Forspoken, but it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. I'm not sure which one was in development first because the guy worked on this way back in 2016 or 2015 probably, and then Forspoken probably could have been in development for a while. It's Square Enix, who knows?
Yeah.
But man, have you guys seen what they've done recently with the Forspoken? Compared to before, their world was barren. There wasn't much to do. It was empty. All of a sudden, they took all that feedback with criticism, and it just looks like a vibrant, beautiful world with parkour systems to it.
Oh yeah, they definitely took some time to add some more polish to that game because it is looking better, definitely looking better.
Yes,
Exactly.
yes. It's nice to see studio work with the feedback and try to implement what people are saying in the games.
Yeah, Gran Turismo was
Right.
one of those actually. GT7 now gives out free updates for new cars. They have promotions with was it Ferrari.
Yep.
They now allow you to sell cars and buy cars and all
Hey,
that.
what's up, John?
So
Bro, John.
I like that Sony Studios are actually listening to their, customers and be like, hey, we need to hear you. We're going to improve upon it. Make sure you guys get the product you paid for because it is 70 plus that you're paying, and you want to get the most out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. When you pay a full game, you shouldn't have most of the experience locked up behind microtransactions.
Yep.
Like one or the other. Like some games, I do understand microtransaction if you're looking for aesthetics.
Mm.
I don't care about that. But if you actually have elements of the game that are locked behind microtransaction and you're paying a fortune for the game, like the full $70, that shouldn't be. Like it should be one or the other. You're buying a game, you should have full access to the game with at least a decent amount of content that's part of it. Like I do understand having some special cars that they sell, or if you have DLC for the games, yes, but not locking the whole thing behind. Like if you want to expand, like oh I want this car, oh it's locked, I gotta buy it.
Yep.
It's good that they corrected that, definitely.
Yeah, and that also brings up another point where games are still being released, excuse the French, half-assed. They're not releasing the full game. It's incomplete. For example, Callisto Protocol, Sony send out people to help out, and it looks amazing. You can tell it has that Sony touch to it. If you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Over
they
the
sent
shoulder camera,
150
the combat.
employees.
Yep. All those
Yeah.
people to help out.
Crazy.
And when you look at the product, and I didn't realize it till later, there was no New Game Plus. And then that became a topic I saw on Twitter. By the way, guys, it won't release till February. I'm like, I already missed out a collectible, so I got to restart the game if I want to get a platinum because it doesn't really, there's no map, there's no guidance to it. It's like you got to explore everything or look through guides online. But it doesn't deteriorate the fact that the game is still beautiful. It is impressive. The story is awesome. The actors are phenomenal. I like the girl from The Boys on Amazon. It was pretty dope. I like how she's in it. They did a hell of a job for a small studio.
That's
Yeah, I was
awesome.
watching Brian stream that on Twitch, and yeah, man, it was looking real crispy.
I love the gore.
Good.
That gore they have, it actually gives me that God of War feeling to it. You know what I'm talking about when you guys like make that impact of the combat? Oh,
Yeah.
it is so satisfying. Nothing comes
And
close to that.
was that studio started by the guy from Dead
Space?
Space? Or
Yep.
Yeah, it was. It was.
That was his vision. That's what he wanted. But EA wanted to make some alternative like changes to it when Dead Space came about. And so now he has his own studio. He did what he wanted. And there's obviously a lot of cussing, a lot of stuff happening, a lot of jump scares. And he definitely has a twisted mind. If you see the game mechanics and what's in there, like monster wise, it's definitely pretty twisted.
so Dead Space director's cut.
Basically.
Yeah.
That's
Speaking of which, Dead Space, I think they have a 15-minute gameplay out. Just came out today. So the first look
remake?
at
For the
gameplay.
remake.
For the remake, yeah.
Doesn't EA trial do 10 hours? Or,
No, I mean, like the like IGN and
Gameplay?
stuff have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, got gameplay videos up.
Gotcha.
Nice.
Speaking of that, EA needs to fix that. I was playing Need for Speed Unbound, and they locked me out. I was a little disappointed. I wouldn't buy the game. I'm not gonna lie; it's very bad. It is. It's like a copy and paste Burnout from way back in the day with anime graphics. That's it. It was not that impressive.
Yeah, I played a little bit of it. It was. It was.
Nah.
It was
right. 6.5. It was.
It was man. From what I played of it, I'll probably play the rest of my trial to get a better. But yeah, for the first hour, it was
Yeah, exactly. I
Good
mean,
to know.
so I saw JD. You got the the VR2? You excited for that?
Yeah, man, I'm excited for the for the PlayStation VR 2, man. That Stadia refund came in handy. But yeah, man, I'm
I thought
excited
about
for
it.
the launch. Yeah.
I thought about it, but I was like, I don't have that much space to be doing all that. I'm gonna be swinging at somebody. I don't know. But
I know the feel.
But the
Yeah.
specs are impressive. I looked everywhere. I've looked online for all these virtual headsets. Nothing comes close, and especially for that price point. People complain like, "Oh, it costs more than the PC if you get the whole package." Blah blah blah. I'm like,
Yeah,
think of it as a perspective. If you were to get a top of the line computer, to get a top of the line VR headset, that there isn't one except for Sony's. If you look at the specs,
Yeah.
and then come to fruition that like, hey, Sony is providing a lot for your money.
Right.
If you want quality, you got to pay for it. It's like Apple.
They are, and people hung up on the wireless portion of it, but actuality, having local will always perform better. Any hardwire hookup, like you still hook up stuff to your Ethernet port, right? Like to get the best quality, to make sure you're getting all of your GPS, whatever, all your gigs, that's just the fact of the matter, that you're going to get the best quality from it being a hardwire, especially at those specs that the PSVR 2 is running. I don't think that could, if it's done wirelessly, then I would think it would be some corners cut to make it in the graphics department. I don't think they would be able to go as high. But what do I know? I'm not an engineer or a tech guy.
Here's the data. The data
You know
that's
what
going to
I'm
be
saying?
sent through the cable, it's going to be intense. It's a lot. But like you said with the specs, it has to be wide. Just like headsets, they can sound amazing. I have Razer headsets. Every few times I play sessions, low battery. I'm like, dude, really? If you have a wired one, fixes the problem, and you can still get the same quality in a sense. So wired will always be better, but it is what it is. That's the world we're in. So everyone wants wireless, but yet to work 100%. Like that's the case. Like all of a sudden, technology advanced 20 years.
Yeah.
As if there's no difference now.
Right.
Well,
But,
there's
I'm
some
definitely
wireless tech that's starting to be really good, but you're talking about some pretty expensive stuff, and you're burning through batteries, and
yeah, no, that's not real.
to have that on most consumer product, we're starting to get there, but it's still some ways off.
Yeah, we're some ways off for that. Yeah.
But I will say these are pretty good though for wireless.
For sure.
I'm pretty happy personally with the Pulse 3D headset. So I've been rocking those for a while. It's very affordable. It's the one Sony officially makes.
Yep.
And I'm liking them.
Yeah.
Not the end zone. The end zone ones were horrible from what I've seen. It's overpriced. It's not that great from what you can get elsewhere. Because there was more towards PC people, because you know how Sony is now investing in the PC side for more revenue, and they made those products. The monitor, not too bad, but again, LG is now coming out with a 2K, 240 hertz display for under $1,000, about the same price range for that new monitor. Right. What are you gonna pick? The LG. So
yeah.
But no, Sony's been doing well. I'm definitely going to invest in that controller, though. I'm tired of stick drift. $20 to replace the stick modules. I'm good. That's all I need.
That's an interesting.
Oh, man. I only had one controller. Yeah, I only had one controller with the stick drift so far. I got 3 PS5 controllers, and I have one that has it.
Same situation. 3, but
I don't remember ever getting a controller that got stick drift. I usually don't stick around to older platform. I still have a PS2 around and all, but generally I mostly play on the latest generation. So I don't know. I might not be rough enough with my controllers, but I never had been unlucky enough to get a controller with stick drift. So
Yeah, just play Call of
Nah.
Duty. You'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you play all of certain games, I don't know. I don't think I'm a like pro gamer. I'm not like a pro gamer, but
Yeah.
I ended up getting it on one of them. So I was like, what? How do I get this? I'm barely playing like that at the time.
Yeah, it's
So have you
definitely
guys?
interesting.
Sorry, I was going to mention. Have you guys seen the news about some upcoming event for PlayStation? I'm not sure if that was confirmed or not.
I heard that they was gonna have one, then they pushed it back because of the whole ABK deal, and then there was probably talking about another one happening next year, having an event like next year.
Yeah, because I'm trying to see
That's
what they're
one
going to
thing
come up
I can't wait for it to be over. The Activision Blizzard deal going on right now.
Oh
Because,
man,
with the CMA and all that, and I don't want to take sides. I actually personally don't take sides. Whether the acquisition does go through or not, personally, I'm fine with both as long as they finish with it. Because right now, it's both Sony and Microsoft. They're playing the victim of one another, saying the other one's the big bully that's pushing them. And want it or not, I'm fairly sure that both Xbox and PlayStation are holding back on some features they want to roll out because they don't want to look too strong and tip the balance on the other side. Like, for example, cloud gaming is one thing we've been talking about for so long, and it almost seems like Sony was ready to roll out something like getting eventually mobile support and stuff like that. Xbox was finally improving. Like, there's like if I play in browser, I don't have latency anymore. It's a lot clearer. There was a bunch of stuff that seemed to be about to roll out. Even Phil Spencer himself, or on the Xbox side, said by the end of the year you'll have access to your library to play in the cloud. That still hasn't come out. Sony seemed to be readying up some stuff for cloud gaming. They said they were finally rolling out PC support for cloud gaming in Japan, and they were expanding like 10 or 12 more territories when they announced the PlayStation Plus makeover, and they've been rolling in more territories. So it seems like they've been ramping up to something, and because of that Activision Blizzard deal happening right now, they're both like, okay, we're not moving too much. We're going to hold off a little bit, and we're going to try to plan that we're not in that strong of a position so that the jury should go on our side, like the government and all, in turn the decision in our favor. It's like, I just want it to be done. And for both companies to not think about that anymore and to focus on what they do best, which is deliver us a game, improve the platform, and just make it good.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree, man. I'm just wait. Yeah, I'm over this whole deal. I just want it to be over. I just want the fanboys to stop fanboying about it and let the companies like Doc and everybody saying just let them handle it. Let it be over with. Whether it goes one way or the other way, they both just gonna have to adapt to the outcome of that deal and let them compete. And let's see what happens with that.
For me, I say it's going to benefit if it goes through. One, who knows? We might get a SOCOM again. Again, we have Bungie on the side. It can be a live service game. They can bring back Resistance. They can bring back Killzone. They can bring back so many of their back pocket IPs that would explode, that they've had experience with. And they have crazy talent now in their hands. So it's not impossible.
Absolutely.
They just have to put their foot forward. I mean, what is it? We're actually, I don't know if you guys saw the news, the Metal Gear Solid situation with PlayStation. They might get the exclusives for the remakes. They might get Silent Hill as well as a remake. I mean, Sony is going at it. They're going through these deals behind closed doors. And next thing you know, it's going to be a good year next year.
There's a lot of good stuff coming from Sony right now because of Xbox.
Exactly. Competition.
We're talking about PlayStation Plus Premium. Without Game
What's
Pass,
up, Ron?
that wouldn't be there.
He said he's here for
Right.
Stadia Pro.
Oh yeah, you are. So without Game Pass, PlayStation Plus Premium wouldn't be what it is today. Without Microsoft Reward Program, that's really well supported on the Xbox. PlayStation Stars would not be there, and this podcast wouldn't be called Playing in the Stars.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So-
competition breeds innovation. It breeds all these things, man, and we just need to keep it rolling. Like I just said, I just got off the other podcast and just said, look, man, like we can have our own opinions. Then there's the video game industry opinions and the standard that the industry has, not that we have as the consumer. And these companies need to live up to the industry standards and compete at that standard at that time. So, yeah.
Yeah, like next week, or is it actually tomorrow? I think it's tomorrow, yeah. PlayStation Plus, their new games. And what do they have that DKO? They're getting the free content version or the launch edition that's included day one. So Sony's definitely going more of the third-party scenario instead of the first-party day ones. And they're doing it with contracts because DKO is a free-to-play game. But with Sony, you're getting the better edition of it already included with your subscription.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the stuff that's not really talked about.
Exactly.
Go ahead, Doc.
I was just going to say, that's the thing. People want day and date PlayStation games on the subscription. But if you look, PlayStation Premium, if you buy the yearly subscription, is very affordable. It's pretty cheap. They got a bundle. Like, it's really worth it. Take the yearly subscription. If you look monthly, yearly, it's definitely worth it. Plus Black Friday, like I'm pretty sure every year they got a discount on their subscription.
Yep.
And this year's was 25% off for 1 year of PlayStation Premium. That was a heck of a deal. So you bring that, leaves you a lot of money to buy the games that you want. And Sony, by having by not doing the day and date, it's a lot of sales that they're going with. That it's a lot of revenue. So you have to take that into account. Sony has a business model that they've been running with for a while. Right now they're doing modifications, but they've been on top for a while for a reason. They've been really good in the business, and now because competition is doing a different model that's totally different, doesn't mean they have to. Yes, they have to do some modification, but flipping everything around like that, like okay, entirely different. It's not because one does it that the other one has to do it. PlayStation is still doing extremely well. They still have a ton of people buying their console. They're starting right now. The PS5 is starting to be in supply in the stores. How long has it been out? Like almost 2 years?
Yeah.
For which?
The
PS5?
Or the next gen. They came out in 2020, right?
I believe so. Should be about
2
years.
2 years, and you're still struggling to find a PS5 on the shelves. That's impressive.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, like I said before, PlayStation is in the sales game. That's always going to be the thing. They're about numbers. Statistically, no fanboyism aside, all that crap. Statistically, about 70 to 80% of the revenue that developers get, studios get for their games and whatnot is all through the PlayStation side. That's why Game Pass is different, and we can't do comparisons on their profits or what's doing better and whatnot because it's different models. They're about a sub model. They're all about subscriptions. They don't care for the sales. That's why when you see these people that are doing their journalism, they're saying like, hey, there's over 20 million people on, was it Forza, 30 million on Sea of Thieves. You can't correlate those numbers to PlayStation sales. It's completely different ball game. It's just not the same thing. And people have to understand that from our perspectives, so like a consumer's perspective. And then even look at it as if you're in the business. It's completely different. And this is why Sony's doing their own thing. They did add a little twist. And what people don't realize, and they've done this before, which is why I actually did love Sony, is they have these contracts with the developers for certain games where you can get little benefits like Warframe. You can actually get some stuff added to your library for free, whether it be like a certain pack or if you do what's another game, one of those free-to-play games like Metal something.
Oh yeah, War of Thunders, like
Yeah,
all these.
exactly.
They got bundles for a lot of free to play
Exactly.
games.
Even Fortnite, they give you some free stuff.
Free skins.
Just for being just some free skins just for being a PlayStation Plus member, and those are the things like we was saying earlier, like that don't get brought up. They don't take account in the conversations that we have about like when we're playing for these games. It's just like. I'll go ahead and talk about it. The $70 games came up again. And Phil Spencer came out and said, look, we can't afford they echoing the same things that certain developers have said and what Jim Ryan has said, that yes, Game Pass is successful. See, it's one thing to be successful. It's one thing to sustain a different business model when it comes to creating games. And as a consumer, I just said this as well. As a consumer, right? Like if I'm on Xbox right now, I wouldn't be complaining for games going up $70, right? Because one, I have Game Pass. I can try out that game before I spend my $70. I can't do that on PlayStation side. I can't try that out. I have to either pay the full $70 up front or wait for it to go on sale. But as a savvy consumer, there's always sales. There's always a sale. There's if you don't want the game day and date, if you can wait and not do day and date games, if you can wait for a sale, the sale happen all the years. I just brought up a good example. Sonic Frontiers just came out. The digital deluxe version is on sale for $48. Like, you know, you're going to have the Black Friday, the Christmas sales. You're going to have the holiday sales event. You're going to have the summer, the spring sales. It's not like you can't get games on discount or at a value that you feel that is within your price range or budget. What I don't like is that people telling other people that just because company A sustains a certain model, that company B needs to do that. And I just feel like that's incorrect. They need to compete or make it comparable or make it appeasing to a consumer, but they don't necessarily have to do the exact same thing.
Yeah, and to go off of that, I mean, company A, because again, we're not here for all that stuff, but company A has money to burn. Again, they're in a different industry. They're software based. They have so much money going through because they've been out at it for years. Whereas Sony, again, is going through investors and whatnot, so they have different business models. But the reason why Xbox is going to increase their games to $70 is because they're hoping that even with Game Pass, people will still end up buying the games. Because one, it's not really that sustainable. I'm not in the business and not behind the closed doors, but from the numbers and all the stuff that's given, I feel like it's kind of hard to be sustainable. Imagine if Sony was doing all this without their sales numbers that they're providing for third-party software, first-party games. If they weren't able to just have those sales and put everything on day one for PlayStation Plus, I don't think it would work out for them. It really wouldn't. Even with investors, they would go bankrupt at that point and close down PlayStation. You just can't compare those.
Yeah, you can't. You can't do it. And even with Nintendo, Nintendo Switch Online and Nintendo's doing cloud, they're doing it's just crazy weird stuff. And Nintendo wouldn't even really take that too much of a risk there in losing that type of money for that. And you can talk about the quality of Nintendo games, whether they're good or bad or indifferent, whatever. But
Pokemon,
Pokemon. But as we get more technical, as people are wanting 4K, then next thing you know, they're going to be wanting 8K. We're at 120 frames per second. We want all of these tech specs, teched out stuff, but we don't want to pay the price for them. That's acceptable, I would want to say, and no one can stay in business that way.
Yeah. I'll put it like this. We don't really need the necessary hardware upgrades or any of that stuff. I mean, just look what Fortnite did. All software based, all due to their engine. And it already looks next gen. As long as I get a game that runs smooth, doesn't have too many bugs, and looks great, without having to make that many sacrifices, then I'm good. As long as it's all a game. That's all we need.
Yeah.
But if I'm paying $70 and I get a game that's full of bugs, it doesn't have the modes until later because they decided to ship early due to the higher ups, it doesn't look great.
Yeah. And I'll be the first one to say, I don't have a 4K TV. I don't have a thing that's putting out 120 FPS at this moment, and I'm still enjoying my 1080p PS5 games at 60 frames per second. Like it still looks good. It's still, you know, it's for Certain people can say like once you go to 4K, you know what I mean, but it's a whole nother ball game. But I'm saying for like people that are trying to place a value and say, well, you know, I only have a certain amount of money. It's like you can still enjoy what you have. Like you don't need all of that extra stuff.
Personally, one of the reason I wanted to get back to the PS5 is when they added the 1440p support.
Yeah,
that's what I got. I got a 1440p monitor because I did want to get like the high refresh rate and all that. But getting that with 4K is freaking expensive. You're looking at thousands of dollars. If you want good quality with that, well, 1440p monitor, you're going with PC gaming. Those are pretty affordable. 1440 with a 144 hertz. It's easy to get good quality for like a few $100. So going with that, not spending too much. It's a very good quality of gaming. And the thing about like people don't mention it too much or don't realize it too much, but 4K, if you're going with 4K, in order to have the maximum, basically to see as much the details as possible that 4K gives you, the TV is occupying your whole field of view. You have to be pretty close to 4K TV. Like there's a calculation of what resolution you have, the screen of the TV you have, and everything, and where it's optimal viewing distance. And basically, you can see like, okay, I think for a 42-inch TV, the optimal viewing the distance at 4K is something like 3 or 3.5 feet. So if you're further than that, you won't be able to see every pixel. You won't have 100% of the quality. So I don't know if you ever tried to play at like 3.5 feet from 40. I might be wrong on the distance, but it's close to that. So if you try to play on a 42-inch at 3.5 feet, it's pretty big. If you want to see your mini map, you have to turn your head. It's way too big. So that's why I've been embracing the 1440p personally. And now PlayStation supports it. It took him a while to add the patch, but they support it now. I'm really happy about that. So yeah, 4K is not essential. Even if you don't have the crazy 4K TV, you don't need that to fully take advantage of your console.
Yeah, no, I
right.
mean, actually,
And like our salvation. I was just going to say, like our salvation said, they got the TCL TV, and they didn't even adjust the settings on it to get the best out of their console. Like you know, some of these consumers, man. So it's just funny to me that that some consumers or fanboys out there just want to debate specs all day, but they don't have the
hardware
the hardware to run it anyway. So it's just
no, but 2K is definitely the sweet spot. A lot of PC gamers utilize it. I mean, just like Doc, you're saying, a lot of people who are always on the monitor, they love that setting. And it did take them a while to do it through software ends, but they got it done. It works well. I've seen video reviews on it, and it runs smooth. That's all you need.
Yeah, personally, I switched from 1080p to 1440. I see the difference immediately. Like it's I switched from 1440 to 4K. I have to get really close to the screen to see the difference. So unless you're the type of person that, like, okay, if you put on a map on a screen and you want to get in and see up close without manipulating, maybe it's useful. Like if you're if like you're doing flight plans and you're working with that, and okay, 4K and even 8K might be a good idea. Like you have the full display and you work anyway. Yeah, resolution definitely. But for your viewing experience in your living room, where you're gaming, or even like on your computer desk and everything, I've never seen the point of 4K. It's like I use
Even
the
when you're
high
pro, I was gonna say, even if you're pro gaming, they don't have it at 4K on multiplayer. They say that joint down so they can get the frame rates.
Yeah, a lot of pros use 1080p or even 720 for them. Like, and they drop down the resolution, especially for when
No,
you're
it's
Yeah.
all
frame rate
1440 now.
responsiveness.
Is it
Yeah, with
1440?
the latest
Yeah,
trends.
it's 80%. There's a poll in statistics. 80% of PC gamers, even pro players, are now 1440. It's the standard. They don't go
Okay.
up to 4K. 4K resolution is probably like a 20% if I saw, or 15%, and then the rest is like the 1080s and all that. But literally, almost everyone's at 1440 because one, it doesn't take that much from the taxing in terms of the CPU usage or anything like that. Or when you're gaming and you get the frames without making that many sacrifices, you can still put on ultra settings and it still looks beautiful. Like Doc said, he saw the change instantly, especially on the monitor.
Mhm.
So the fact that you can do that with PlayStation now, it's a thing of beauty.
Yeah, because when you're loading a game, especially like if you play with PC gaming at all, you'll see it. There's the things. There's the resolution, but then
Mhm.
there's the frame rate. There's a response, like how fast does it respond to your controls, and
Yep.
there's some others, but those are the most important. And whenever you tinker with one of them, it's going to have an impact on the two others.
Yep.
So responsiveness, you have no control over. The frame rate, you can limit it, and your resolution is the one you have direct control over. And if you go to 1440, generally with a lot of hardware, the other two will be fine, depending on what hardware you have access to. But you can easily go in a situation where in 1440 you're hitting like over 120 FPS. You go up to 4K, and that 120 FPS is now struggling to even hit 40 FPS.
Yeah, it
It's
can dip.
eating a lot of resources, like a crazy amount of resources. And so that's why the sweet point of 1440, where you barely see the difference beyond that, people stop there and they maximize their performance everywhere else.
Yeah.
And that's why there's a lot of game on the PS5 that in order to hit 120 FPS, you'll be playing at 1440, even if you have a 4K TV. So not every game's like on any platform, PS5, Xbox Series X, whatever platform you're playing on, even if you're connected in 4K, not every game will be in 4K, especially for that reason, that fine tuning of finding the right responsiveness and the right frame rate where it feels comfortable playing. Some games they have to lower that and lock it at a certain resolution in order to have those other checkbox working well. So
Yeah, no, the
having a big
1440 is definitely the way to go, especially with the input latency. If you have a monitor, all these pro gamers, especially the console players, even then, what they'll do now is they go a PS5, a monitor, or even an Xbox at one point. They'll just get the monitor, hook it up, and you have a keyboard attached to it. And there you go.
Yeah.
Low input
Absolutely.
latency. You don't have to deal with the issues. You can do 1440, 120 frames, and you're set. And you have FOV sliders nowadays, especially with COD.
Yep.
Everyone loves that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's good
For
stuff.
sure. For sure.
So you were gonna say? Okay.
No, I was going to ask. Speaking, since we're playing in the stars and stuff, so I know Doc, you just got your PlayStation back, but I know you're starting to play more PlayStation games and stuff. But Brian, where are you guys at on your level on your rewards level?
Halfway to 4. Halfway. I play a lot.
Yeah.
I didn't think I'd get there that quick, but damn it, Sony got me sucked in the ecosystem again. I was like, nope. I even bought another game just now, just so I can get the easy trophies.
Oh man.
man.
Yeah.
It was only $10. It was called Sort of Vagrant, but it's actually pretty neat. It's a action RPG, side scroll, 2D, but it's hand art, so it's like they hand draw it, whatever. It was back on the Switch way back as well, I believe. But because it's PlayStation, I like my trophies, and playing on the stars, it adds up. So
Yeah.
I'm about to
Yeah.
play them.
Yeah.
I'm definitely having a blast with it. Definitely going to save up all my points, especially for next year. I might be getting that for Spoken, or I might utilize it towards Final Fantasy 16. I mean, it's Final Fantasy. I'm even buying the what's the other one? Crisis Core. Playing that again is it next week or this week?
Yeah, it's next week. Oh man,
A
can't
few
wait.
days.
Yep. So I got to pre-order it on
On
that
13.
payday. Ah, look at him already set with it.
I know, right? He's
God, the memories.
Oh man.
Ah.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to play it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's locked
Next
and
week,
loaded.
Interesting.
Oh, I just realized next week is gonna be rough. If the other game comes out that week, what's it called? High on Life. That's good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's
Oh,
gonna be
yeah.
a rough read.
Dang
Yeah.
it!
A lot
I'm
of
at-
I
stuff
hate this
coming out.
year.
Oh my gosh, it's so much stuff.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
gotta
I'm on
make some
level.
choices.
I'm on level 3, almost to level 4. I got 116 out of 128 trophies needed.
Yeesh.
I got all the games. I just need more, more trophies.
Dang.
So
that's
I'm like
crazy.
you. I'm trying to find those games where I can easily
Yeah.
get to level 4 before December is over. That's my goal.
Yeah. Let me give it that priority. It's like,
Yeah, just gotta get that priority level.
That'll be good. It's like I need assistance. Help me.
Right.
Nah, but I'm definitely excited for next week. It's good overall for gaming. Damn, I just realized that's gonna be tough for me though, because I love Final Fantasy, but I love the creators from Rick and Morty. Ugh, that's rough. Same day too.
Yeah.
All right, I ain't sleeping.
That's some boring game.
look, you got the holidays, man. And you're
Yeah.
gonna be locked and loaded.
About to get me these trophies. I haven't seen if they changed the combat a bit, because I know they said they reworked it just to like match up with the Final Fantasy remake and all that. But I gotta see it again because the materia and everything was a little bit different on Crisis Core. Because I
Yeah.
played on the PSP days, and man, that was so much fun.
They say they didn't touch anything. They didn't change anything. It's all just mostly graphical. Probably a little bit gameplay wise, making it more fluid. Just making it
With the action.
with the action more fluid a little bit. But outside of that, they didn't touch it. It's I think the only thing that I saw with the remake is that once Zach does get the Buster Sword, that he'll be able to choose a different stance, and that's the only thing that I saw that was towards what they did.
Does it
with
affect any gameplay though? If it affects gameplay, then I might actually be happy about it because it's something new.
Yeah.
Zach's story is literally one of the best ones. I don't know about you guys, but I played the game twice.
I played it once. I didn't finish it at the time.
Same
But
here.
What?
I didn't finish it at the time. I know the story, like I already know, but I did not finish it at the time when I had the PSP. Yeah,
I shed some tears. It's the
I was trying to
PSP,
wrap my head. I was trying to wrap my head around the DMV system at the time, and I just I couldn't wrap my head around it at the time. I'm like, what's all this? This ain't Final Fantasy. Like, what is this?
See, if Sony comes back with a handheld system, forget the VR. My money's going to that. I would immediately buy another handheld. Immediately.
Do you think they would go back with a like local hardware handheld?
Yep. I'm sorry, but the Logitech G Cloud or whatever it's called, not my thing. I don't trust it. I've already had too many bad experiences. Just like everyone says, everyone's experience is going to be different depending on your location, your internet, the bandwidth, all that takes into effect. And it's just like xCloud for me, very, very crappy. And I'm on the East Coast. And even when you play it on the hardware itself, it's even worse. But it's better, which is weird. It's better when you play it on the computer or anything like that, or your mobile phone.
In
it looks
browser.
a lot better. Yep, it looks better. But as soon as
I
you go on
have
Xbox,
a
nope.
yeah, I've got a Lenovo Chromebook do it. So it's like the tablet with the snap-on keyboard magnetically linked to it,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
xCloud on it works better on that than anything else. And that's a
Exactly.
pretty old device. It's a few years old,
Yeah.
and
I have the same one actually.
xCloud
My
is
daughter uses it.
yeah. If you play xCloud with like the progressive web app on it,
Hmm.
performance is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a whole
On PC,
different
the
ball game.
resolution, yeah, it's like I can see that the resolution come crispier
Hmm.
than in a browser on PC,
Yeah.
which makes no sense to me. But they did optimization specifically for that, so
Yeah.
to have it like Linux based devices that are more optimized with Excel.
Hmm.
But for PlayStation, we know that they're starting a lot of mobile studios. They've acquired
Yep.
some. They're investing a lot in mobile. So is Xbox. So that's the next phase of like the big showdown that's going to happen. Like we know Phil Spencer just confirmed that the Activision Blizzard acquisition is not even about Call of Duty. It's about King
Candy
for like
Crush.
Candy Crush and all of that.
Yeah. Well, that's because
So
it's an untapped market for these console players. Because if you
mhm.
look at the mobile market, it's way bigger than consoles. Even the Switch, way bigger than that, way bigger than PC. Why? Because every single person has a phone.
Yeah,
And even women have iPhones and they'll play games. They don't even know what they're doing. My wife, because I have the Apple bundle, the services for Apple Arcade, she doesn't even play
Yeah.
games, but she's like, oh, look, Apple Arcade, it's free. Starts playing it. And what's that? Revenue.
Hmm.
So imagine if
Yeah.
PlayStation does the
Mhm.
same thing with their PS Plus program or whatever, somehow implements that with their mobile games and you get free perks or whatever. Imagine playing that on the go. So instead of having the PSP or anything, it's just your phone, their mobile games that are just
the
converted
Razor
for that.
Edge.
Yep. And you're good to go. Imagine
Yeah.
playing Final
Yeah,
Fantasy 7 Remake on that, on the go.
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. And like we know they started working on some ambitious project. Like there's a Horizon, like Horizon Zero Dawn. There's an MMO in that universe that they're working on right now for
Yep.
mobile.
Oh, is it
So
mobile?
yeah, it's a mobile
Huh.
game.
When they
So
say live
I'm
service, I
guessing,
thought they meant everything.
yeah, I'm guessing it's gonna tie in to different games on the PS5, PC, and all of that.
Yeah.
Maybe there'll be other versions, but right now it's being developed as a mobile game. But also we
Ooh,
know
that's a
that
lot of money.
Sony is going big on the metaverse. It's going big on they're going big on like having service games. There's going
Yep.
to be a lot of stuff that will interact with each other. So I
Yeah.
would not be surprised to see the Horizon universe just expand, have a mobile experience, and have another game on the PS5 that will be also on PC that
Well, if they
will
do
tie
that for
into
that,
that.
I mean, I can see that happening with what's the other game? The Last of Us, their multiplayer, because
Yup.
they're doing
Yeah.
MMO of that in a sense. So who
Yeah.
knows?
And they're doing that with Horizon. Remember that the
Mhm.
news came out with Horizon being an MMO
Oh, that's right. We did
game.
discuss about that because we were even pitching off ideas. Imagine having the robots to be riding on that, of doing different upgrades, RPG elements to it.
Yeah.
There's so much potential for that game and that world.
Taking over
Oh,
tribes and everything. Yeah. It'll
Yeah.
be.
and with those graphics, whew, forget it. That'll be the
Yeah.
next Final Fantasy 14, basically.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Imagine all that
Yeah.
revenue.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of money.
Rodella is mentioning Apple Arcade has 150 million
Yep,
subs. It's
it does.
very impressive, but there's one thing though. How many users does it have? Because Apple Arcade is part of the big Apple bundle, which is
Yep, and that's
extremely
what everyone does.
popular. Anyone who has a MacBook that's using it daily, professional use or whatever, they'll take the bundle. They have the extra memory. They have the cloud services, a bunch of services that comes with that, a bunch of platform that comes with it. It comes
Mhm.
with Apple Arcade. That's the thing. Apple is counting those subscribers in their total Apple Arcade users. Well, subs. But that doesn't say how many of those are users. I can guarantee there's a decent percentage, and it might be more than 50% that actually either never or rarely open an Apple Arcade.
I would say rarely, because I've worked in the side of Apple products where I would go to people's homes and set up everything for them. And even my job was to get them those bundles. And a lot of the older folks, they will never really play the games, but because it's part of the subscription, they'll be like, why not? Or their kids will play it. They have little ones. They'll be like, here, they can be entertained. So that's why Apple Arcade is blowing up in a sense. And you are right, Doc. It may not be that many users, but the fact that it's still all part of the subscription, that's a lot of money coming in for Apple.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's what Sony and Microsoft want at the end of the day is constant, massive revenue. All these MMOs, all these mobile games, they're making billions. Genshin Impact. Microsoft themselves said they were disappointed that they didn't invest in it and get it themselves because it was huge amount of money they could have made. Imagine if Sony fully invested in it. Because they only got their deal for being exclusive platform. But if they had invested it to the point where they can get it for themselves and have like a contract where they'll get a portion of that profit, imagine how much money Sony would be making right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
Ron loves Apple Arcade. He wants to let y'all know that.
I still got to try that on my Apple TV. I just bought that thing. Best investment I ever had. Love it.
Nice.
Watching Crunchyroll on it, smooth.
I don't have Apple devices. I might expand in that direction eventually because I know it's high quality hardware. It's just, it's expensive.
Yep.
But when you compare it to the competition, like to a Windows computer or like an Android phone, the price tag you pay, you get very well in terms of quality of the hardware that you're getting and the software support. So I'm thinking eventually probably getting like a MacBook and stuff like that. But
well, I definitely
you should get
recommend
a
the Air.
Pixel. You should get a
Not
Pixel.
even a Pixel.
Look, I get
can't go wrong with it.
Look, I get the support. I get the Google support for being a Pixel. Oh,
I don't know about Stadia. I mean, that didn't go well.
Look, I know Google's invested money in the hardware.
What's the name again? The vocal service, like that you could ask, like to book, like it was an AI that was making calls for you.
Oh, the duplex for web. Duplex for web. They were saying that they already can do that. Like they're just spinning the wheel again with that on the web, so they closed that down.
Yeah, another thing shutting down. So yeah, I don't want to hit the nail too hard, but yeah, it's Google. So yeah, I'm thinking maybe getting some Apple hardware in there, and especially given that I'm pretty much switching my gaming over to PlayStation, and PlayStation and Apple have quite a relation with one another.
Yep.
Collaboration. The new iPhones have Sony cameras in them. PS5 early got an offer with Apple that you could get. Was it 6 months or 3 months of Apple TV for free?
3 months.
If you
they must have did 3 months for those things.
3 months. Yep.
Yep, and the DualSense controller does work with the Apple TV. I have yet to try it, but I might do it for the Final Fantasy game called Fantasia. Awesome looking game. So I might try it out.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's up, Ved? Good to see you, man. Rodilla says I left Apple for Samsung. Best decision I ever made. Phones, Buzz, watch, washer dryer, fridge, Galaxy books.
Now I can trust Google with Android because Google makes Android. They're not going to let that operating system fail. So that's why I can trust them with the phones and the hardware.
No, they have good software. They're amazing with the software. It's just they're not very persistent on it. They don't push it too much at times. And the reason why I went to Apple is just the unification. There's not that many issues unless you go Pixel, because that's the fragmentation issues. Is a lot of times back then in those days, anything Android, you had millions of models because it was accessible for people on a budget. but then you'll never get those update supports. That's why Samsung became a big player, because they give you guarantee of 5 years now. You have Pixel, which is, you're going to get those updates, trade-in programs, all that. So everyone's following the footsteps of Apple in a sense. So again, that brings us back to the whole topic of competition being good for one another, especially in the gaming world.
Yeah.
Just like cell phone providers. It's all competition. It brings out the best in one another.
Yep.
I know I've talked to people who deal like with a hardware repair and all that, and when they talk about Apple, like it's okay, everything is just perfect. When talking about Android, it's like okay, there's Samsung that's equivalent to Apple, and the rest is
it's a migraine.
Like
I've dealt with that.
But Samsung though is top quality though. So having like when you're choosing between Android and Apple, Samsung remains a solid choice. Their engineering is on point. Hardware is just top notch. I've got a Samsung phone right now. I had it for like it's S10e, so that's quite a few generations ago, like 4 or 5. Still runs pretty well. So no, definitely solid hardware there.
Now, is it the Qualcomm versions or is it the MediaTeks that they would use? Because it depends on the versions you would get. Like internationals, they would use the MediaTek chips.
I'm not sure anymore. I know the previous phone, Samsung phone I had the Galaxy S7 was the MediaTek, but this one, I think you can't even. You have to verify with the serial number and look online.
Yeah.
I'd have to check. I'm not even sure.
Because the MediaTek, from what I've understood, it can be sometimes better. It just depends. But Samsung now, even with Qualcomm, it's phenomenal. Samsung is top of the line quality. That's why they're always in K-dramas. They're always advertised everywhere. Their commercials, they do a lot of zingers towards Apple. I don't remember if you noticed those commercials back in the day when the guy had the missing hairline. He was making fun of the notch. I mean, they had good marketing. I can't lie. It was funny. But as long as you pick one of those top products, whether it's Apple, Samsung, or Pixel, you're fine.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. Get out of here, Vet.
Let Android fall. That's why Google's working on new OS.
The poor person Samsung.
Oh man. Yeah.
We like you how you are, man. Go on, JD. Join me on Team Apple.
Team Pixel, baby. Censorship. Censorship.
To bring up another topic to get back into the whole gaming part, do you guys think that Apple could be a huge investor with Sony, the way that things are going?
They got a pretty good partnership. That's what it was. That's why I was mentioning.
In terms of like money funds, because if they need funds for their studios or any development or any projects they're working on, could you guys see Apple funding that?
There's something like we talked about in the private chat that if the Activision Blizzard deals go through, Sony should really look at Epic.
Yeah.
And they would need a financial backer for this, absolutely, because Epic Games right now I think is evaluated at like $33 billion, which even though is an investment that would be worth it for Sony, is quite a hefty tab for them to pay. But if they could get financial backing to basically do a merger with Epic Games, that would be one of the best moves ever, like the best value proposal they could get.
Well, for that to work, there's a few stipulations that it's coming into play. One, they would have to get the IP and everything from Fortnite. So this way they can get revenue off of that, because that makes billions year on end.
Yeah.
I mean, it's never going to die down at this rate.
Yeah.
A lot of kids keep playing it. They will keep getting that. But since it is multi-platinum and everything, and they want to keep that revenue, they're going to have to come up with the numbers and percentages of how much they will benefit from it. What's their cut, what they're getting on a monthly basis. And that's what you mentioned about having a financial backer as well as someone to aid them along the way. They will need a financial advisor as well to be like, hey, this is the numbers we want to agree upon in order to make this work, and then go from there. Because that's the goal, is making that money.
And then they also have to think about Apple just putting like a Sony product on the Apple system. You see how the Epic and Apple deal went down, and so there's going to have to be talks about how can we, if PlayStation wants to put a storefront or PlayStation Plus or streaming service, whatever it is on the Apple device, they would have to talk about, okay, well, how are we going to do this? So we'll make
well. Speaking of that, PlayStation has a store, though. If you guys haven't noticed, PlayStation is the only app that you can actually buy games, download, have your own management for data and everything. Whereas Xbox, you can't do that.
Really?
And they said
that's true. That is true.
Even Xbox couldn't do it
Xbox
because of some issues or they had with when speaking of Apple for some reason. So they always tell you to go on the website via Safari or Chrome. But meanwhile, on PlayStation, on the app, buy, download, manage your data, do everything all from there. Where Xbox, I can't do anything. I have to go home.
I can't even do it on the Android. I can't buy games. I was wondering. I was like, I can't buy a game. I can't do nothing in this Xbox store except for check my stats.
That's odd. That's right. You can't buy a. Yeah, I always had to go to buy games.
Yeah, on the PlayStation app, I can go right in and just start buying games and manage my games on there. But yeah, I was kind of wondering, and then even I said, well, let me see Game Pass. Will Game Pass let me do it since they got two apps?
But it's a hit or miss, though. Yeah, it's a hit or miss because sometimes it says, oh, you have to delete a game, but what if you wanted to manage your storage devices and be like, why don't you install them here? You can't do that. But with PlayStation, you can individually select, like I showed you guys on the screenshots, select which device you want the file to go to, and then install it there.
Oh yeah,
so I don't know what's going on their end, but they got to fix that.
Yeah, it's there is something up between Apple and Sony. Like since the PlayStation 5 came out, the PlayStation 5 DualSense controller has been available on the apps website to purchase.
Yeah, it's even in the stores.
They never specified why. And they had early on the drivers to run the DualSense iPad and like Apple devices. So it's always been in the air that it seems like there's something, but they never revealed anything. And yeah, we see that hardware deal, like the Sony cameras going into the iPhones. And something to know about iPhone, they're extremely popular in North America. But if you go to Europe, if you go to Asia, like it's Android.
Yep.
All over the place.
Yeah.
iPhone has no presence almost.
No. In Portugal, it's all Hawaii. That's their name brand. They don't use iPhones. It's all Android.
Yeah. Salvation. I'm on the Steam.
Microsoft is fighting the duopoly, Apple and Google on mobile.
No, I'm on this. I'm on the Steam Store mobile app, and I can purchase the game. It's not a duopoly on the store, and even Stadia, you could purchase the game. So I don't know what the I don't know what is. That's an Xbox issue. I don't know what that is.
I think it's because they didn't want to pay a certain percentage, like everyone else is paying for on their apps. Maybe that's why, and they wanted everyone to just go on the web browser in order to manage everything.
Do you think that PlayStation is paying a percentage for all the games they sell on the iPhone?
Could be a thing. I don't know how that works out though, because they would have to monitor every time someone uses the PlayStation app through whichever operating system, and see how they're buying and downloading stuff.
In theory, as of yet, you're not buying a product that you can consume on the Apple ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
So they might be able to get away from the charge because of that.
No, I think, like you said, they just have a good relationship. At this rate.
It's just a relationship. It's a relationship.
Because as I was saying, iPhones, you almost don't see them outside of North America. Like in Europe, like there's a certain amount. If you go in Asia, forget about it. They're not there. They don't have a presence. Yeah. So I would not be surprised if Apple and Sony reveal, and it's probably lingering because of the CMA deal, that's the investigation that's going on right now. but I would not be surprised to see an announcement of a further partnership between Apple and Sony to bring like PlayStation games over on the Apple ecosystem, both native and in the cloud, and a bunch of stuff happening like that, like those mobile games on the iPhone, in order for Apple to ship phones over in Japan and South Korea and like more Asian territories and gain a bit more popularity in the European side. That would drive a lot of sales for Apple, and it would be a pretty good partnership for Sony. And don't forget the DualSense backbone controller is only for iPhone.
Yeah,
so all kind of
I
hardware
think so.
and all kind of stuff happening, and we don't yet see the reason why. There's something that's being prepared right now. It feels like.
Yeah,
It could be. Like I said, Sony is the Apple of gaming in a sense because they're all high quality products. They all have a high price tag. It's a high entry point to get into the system and everything, but you're getting good quality out of it. You know what you're paying for.
Yeah.
Hey man, that's what I've been saying. I've said that so many times that Sony and Apple are aligned as far as like business sense and quality.
No.
That's because Sony and PlayStation are high quality. Yeah, when compared to Xbox and Windows. Yeah, I don't want to bash Xbox. That's not what we're here for.
Yeah, no, they're doing their own thing.
No,
it's just a different way of going about it.
Yep.
Of course, media games can be purchased on an Android device. LOL. Yep. And that's why they had to do the progressive web app. And Microsoft has been investing a lot in making xCloud work well in the progressive web app as well. That's why we're seeing improvement in performance lately, but not in the native app, which is weird. But progressive web app, you don't have to do installs, and it was a way to circumvent Apple's term because it's just a website.
That said it. I was like the Windows Phone. Good times back in the tiles.
Microsoft, stupid Microsoft killed my Windows 10 phone.
Hey, those phones were actually pretty fun though.
Those phones was done, man. I love my Zoom.
I never had my hands on one of them.
Oh, you missed out. It was so fun with the tiles.
Yeah, you missed. Yeah, the tiles was dope. It was so dope, man. I love my Zoom, and then even when the Xbox 360 was getting zoomed on there, oh man, I was just like, yeah, this is so dope.
Because we're all here excited about always on display, but imagine that on tiles. It was literally active. You saw all your messages pop up through there. You saw all your activities, the weather reports. Everything was fluid on there. They just gave up on it. But the engineers had something. They had potential.
Yeah.
Nice. So that says if PlayStation brings games to Apple via cloud and native, more than likely would tie into Apple Arcade. I think that kind of deal would actually just outright replace Apple Arcade, most likely.
No, I don't think they would go about that way.
Nah, because that still ties into the rest of their ecosystem. And Apple's all about their ecosystem.
Apple's investing in their own stuff for their gaming because they're talking to devs and making the mobile versions of it. But Sony wants to do their own mobile section. So
right, I think the relationship. I think it will more or less be Sony trying to figure out how to court Apple into letting a PlayStation type gaming service be on their devices.
I think they pay a percentage to be on there on the App Store, basically, and they'll pay a percentage to be like, "Hey, this is what we'll pay you for having our app on the phone, on the market, whatnot," and go from there. And they'll do it probably on a monthly basis.
Google or Apple wanted to support the phone with apps.
That's the developers. Still,
yeah.
That's still in the hands of the developers.
They just didn't want to do more work. That's
developers don't. Yeah, they don't want it. Like when it, it's the same thing with to bring it back to gaming to tie it all in. Yeah, developers don't want to. They don't want to do more work. They want to do the minimum amount of work required as they can get away with. And if you want more work, you're going to have to pay them more to have 3 operating systems or even 4 at the time, because BlackBerry was still trying to kick around.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, you had Apple,
Never
BlackBerry, Android, and a Windows Phone. I mean, that's a lot of development time, and Windows wasn't making that much sales. So that's all on the developers, really.
Well, they have made the phone, but it's with the Android ecosystem. From what I saw last time, they made like a Windows phone, but it was with Android. So
yeah, they did that too.
Not gonna lie, it's the same. In my perspective, it's the same thing that happened with like gaming. If you look at, you got the big like PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, and then you got Stadia to try to come in. There was a Luna, there was a like Coleco that released the little console that was weird and just got canceled. You're trying to get into a very crowded and very lucrative environment, business. You have to be solid about it and really invested. Microsoft has bled money for the Xbox. When the Xbox 360 came out, it had so many issues. It cost them billions and billions of dollars to fix the issue. So gaming is it's very lucrative, but it's a very expensive business and very risky business to get into. So exactly the same as for mobile phones. Like if you're bringing in people, you already got Android and Apple iOS that's so popular right now. Now you're trying to get people to transfer into the Windows mobile ecosystem. You're trying to make Tizen. You're making other platforms. You're trying to convince a lot of people to put extra work, like you guys were saying, for something that won't have a market.
Right. Even BlackBerry tried it. They tried to come back and they tried to come back so bad, and it felt so horrible. And it's just like, man, these developers hardly develop for Android. that's number one. They hardly develop for Android. Number one, they develop for Apple because that's where they get the money at. And then they just do it for Android because they know they can get some more money. And then you're asking for a third, fourth, fifth operating system. They're just not really going to do it because 2 is enough for them. Just like in a gaming business with the gaming scenario with Nintendo, Xbox, and Sony, as you see throughout the generation, some developers will go to this platform. Whatever's making the most money, the most popular, they're going to put most of their efforts there. To that platform that is making them the most revenue. Now, yes, they do have side projects, passion projects, other deals and stuff behind the scenes to put stuff on other platforms. But when we're just talking about just in general, that a game that's across all 3 systems, they're going to put the most work into the one that's generating the most money.
Yeah, basically.
Blocking deals.
Blocking deals.
It's the politic of the business.
That's the gaming business.
So who's excited for next year with the MMOs coming out? You guys haven't seen it?
Oh man, listen them out so the audience will
Run
know.
and Liberty. We got Project Triple L, all from NCSoft, big names from mobile transitioning to consoles for MMOs. You have Space Punks coming out as well, and that's supposed to be before this year. You have Crimson Desert, or whatever they called it. That's from BDO developers from Pearl Abyss. What was it called? Doki V, a Pokemon-like simulator as well. I mean, there's a lot of MMOs that's going to be out for those who love that. So Final Fantasy is going to have some competition, but these are more towards, looter shooters. Some are full-on MMO action RPGs. So it's going to be a heck of a year. And that's not even including, the one from Arc Raiders. That's another. That's also going to be out.
Speaking of Final Fantasy 14 is coming with a major update eventually.
Yep,
probably
7.0.
next year. 7.0 should be big. Yeah, they're doing a big overhaul of the graphics, and it should be interesting.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it definitely should be a lot. Oh, for the new one.
I don't know if it's the
yeah,
Luminous one they're still utilizing, or it's something different.
Final Fantasy 16 is actually being developed by the same producer that's working on Final Fantasy 14. So it should be interesting. They had a lot of success under their belt with Final Fantasy 14. They turned it around, made it a success, and there's still like I've been playing lately, and there is a solid player base still on that game. And yeah,
Yep.
they've been working on Final Fantasy 16 as well.
Hmm.
And so
it said it was Unreal 4.
Unreal Engine 4
Yeah, Final Fantasy 16 pre-production was performed chiefly on the Unreal Engine 4.
So they're switching it from the Luminous engines to Unreal. Oh, snap.
And we know that Unreal Engine 4 to 5 transition is super easy to do, apparently.
Yeah. Again, if they want to put in the work.
No, so they did switch. So they switched it. Yeah. They switched it from the Luminous engine to Unreal.
That's what they used in 15. They tried it. It didn't work. Too many bugs and issues. A lot of people complained about it. Still a fun game at the time, but it was way too buggy.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, Doc's on something. If they get Epic with the Unreal Engine, whoo, lots of money.
Yeah,
lots of revenue. That's the biggest engine. Like, I literally want every game to be on Unreal Engine at this rate. The amount of stuff I've seen from them, except for Guerrilla Games, because what they did with Horizon Forbidden West, I'm not gonna lie, that's damn near impressive. But Unreal Engine is up there.
Yeah.
So there's Kingdom Hearts 4 that's being developed on the Unreal Engine 5.
Yep. Everyone's switching to Unreal Engine. I think Square already announced it because the Luminous engine that they were utilizing is just caused way too many issues. Xbox, the same thing. Coalition, all of them, Unreal Engine.
Dragon Quest 12, The Flames of Fate, is on the Unreal Engine 5.
Yep.
Gonna have to grab that.
Oh man,
I'm excited for these Unreal Engine games.
Yeah.
Oh man,
a friend of mine's actually excited for Day Before.
Engine.
Yeah.
You guys like zombie games? There you go. Day Before.
Yeah,
if it actually comes out.
It's like it looks a lot like the Division 2, but in a zombie environment. That's the game, right?
Yeah. It's basically open world. You can actually interact with certain buildings, going into the malls, trying to loot everything within the stores. All the stuff is pretty much interactive. The lighting was pretty solid from what they showed with Unreal Engine, and that was on 4. And they switched it to 5, which is why they got pushed back till next year. And then apparently you can also do like PvP. So if you want it to be, a little a-hole, you can steal their stuff, take it back to your base, build your own camp and everything. So it has potential to be a great game if they actually go through with it.
That's the thing. Epic did such a great job with the Unreal Engine 5 that they, to themselves, created a lot of games to get delayed.
Yeah, because everyone. I've noticed that every single delay. And this is why again, console wars aside, I don't blame Xbox Studios. I know they've always done delays and everything, but I don't blame them because if Fable comes out with Unreal Engine, I'm a happy guy.
Yeah.
That was the main reason why I even got an Xbox back in the day as my first console and I got my own job and everything. I bought Fable. I don't know what it was about it, but it was one of those quirky games as a kid you wanted to play because it was funny, it was different, it was unique. And that's what PlayStation was back then as well, back in the days with was it not Crash? Ape Escape. That was different.
Ape Escape, Rapper the Rapper.
Yep. Oh my God, I sucked at that game.
Yeah.
I tried doing the little onion wrap thing, and I was like, no. I kept messing up the button combinations.
Chop, chop, chop. I've been playing that recently. I'm on level 4. I'm like, what? It was crazy.
Oh yeah, they actually put that on the PlayStation Plus. I forgot.
Yep.
Good times.
I brought it before it went on PlayStation Plus again.
You guys remember PlayStation Underground, like the demo disc that came back with the PS1? That's the only experience
yeah.
I got a Parapet Rapper. Is the demo disc that had the demo for Parapet Rapper on
Yeah,
it
there was
and a
like what
bunch of
5
other
games on there. Yeah, there was like a few games on there that you
There
can
was
try out when it
more. It
first
was
released.
like it was more than 5. I think it was like almost like 12 games. Some of them.
They had the robot game.
Like
I
it
know
was
that much. It was like Armex something.
on the same
They
one.
had
I
a
think it was like the second PlayStation Underground. It was
Mm-hmm.
Parapet Rapper. There was the Star Wars fighting game, Tears Canon or something like that. It's martial art in the Star Wars universe. It was Tony Hawk Pro Skater, the first one, I think.
They had too many
Ooh.
games on that thing. It's
They
been
had too many.
years.
You know what they
There was some
should do with
solid
these
games.
trials, trials that they got on PlayStation Plus? They should just name them. The trials and demos should just be called PlayStation Underground. Just
Not
to
that
be
right.
like,
Yeah.
just to
Yeah.
be, just to be like a throwback. Like, oh snap, yeah, you got PlayStation Underground on the
You
service.
access the
Yeah,
menu. It's like you got like the old retro vibe of all the videos playing
The
of
little
the
blocks
games and like
that you swipe through on
Yeah.
it.
the old
Yeah.
lightning in the back and all that. Like put you back in the retro vibe.
yeah, facts. Yeah, they should do that. They should do that. Hey Sony, if you're listening, y'all should do that.
I did not miss the scratch disc though. Nope, I hated that.
Oh
thing.
yeah, I was
I had to spend
done.
$20 on a disc repair just to fix them.
That's
I
the
was like,
one thing that kept me a Nintendo fanboy was those discs, man. Even with the Dreamcast and say I had the Sega CD, Dreamcast,
the scratches.
PlayStations, them disc scratches, man, and the Xbox. I was like, man, Nintendo, you did it right. You did it right with the cartridge.
I went with the digital PS5 and not the disc version.
Same here. Good job.
I'm done with disc consoles.
Oh man, I got the disc version, but I don't use it. I haven't used it yet.
I don't like the bulkiness. I couldn't do it. That disc tray made it look ugly. I was like, nope, not for me. I'm about to save $100.
I think when I had my other PS5 with the disc reader on it, I think I used the disc reader once because I wanted to know if it worked before I sell it. It's the only time I ever used it. Because for me, it's all digital. I don't see the point of buying I've got a big collection behind me, and it's like a nostalgia. But for recent games, I find the convenience of digital so easy because you can't lose it, can't break it. It follows your account no matter.
Yep.
If you go on traveling and you're right somewhere and there's a PS5, it's like just log in your account, download your game, and boom, you're playing. Digital has its convenience, like cloud gaming has its convenience. It's very similar.
If you guys want the collector's edition, just get the collectibles. I mean, that's the reason why I got God of War, was just for that.
They started
him and his
selling
son.
collector's edition without the games for multi-platforms.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
yeah. That's pretty much it, man. Yeah. I got it. I got the disc just in case. There's just some old stuff that's on DVD and previous stuff, and I got this one console. I can just throw it in there, but that's on a rare occasion. But all my gaming is digital. All my recent.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
plus, it helps out with the PlayStation Plus thing. The whole playing in the stars.
Get
Get those free points. As soon as I bought this game, hey, you got another 100 points. I'm like, all right, cool.
Yep. I got another 100 points. I got some more rewards. I got everything tracking. Like Doc said, it's on my account. I can use my PS5. I can use a friend's PS5. Like it's convenience, man. Convenience for the digital. Don't have to worry about this crashing, this or waiting to download. Like my homeboy, he went and got that COD. Modern Warfare 2, and you know what happened with that? There's no game on the disc. You have to wait and install it. And I was just like, man, you could have just pre-ordered it, got that pre-download, and been playing.
Yeah.
I did that immediately.
Isn't there just like 70 megabytes on the disc?
On the
Call
disc,
of Duty?
Yep. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just
why
a
bother?
It's just so you say have a disc.
Well, some people didn't know at the time, but that was that was just weird that they did that. But yeah, so now he's all digital now. He's all like, yeah, those were my last 2 games. That and another game. He's like, all right, those are my last physical games. Everything's digital. I'm like,
Yeah, I stopped in the PS4
That-
days. We couldn't do it.
yeah,
that
me
was
too.
a big thing for me. Like in the PS5, having the disc reader, it's one more thing that can break,
Yep.
and it's that much potential of something that can leak current into your console and short some stuff, accumulate static electricity. Like you're adding a breaking point for your console that for me I'm not using. So having the digital is not for me because it's the cheapest version. It's because it's a version that I want because it has less stuff that can break on it that I'm not using, and only the stuff that I want. So
Yeah.
the console is lighter. It's super sleek. Looks really good, and yeah, I didn't see the point of having the disc version.
Yeah, no. I love my PS5. It runs.
It runs. It's quiet like a fan. It's not no jet.
I don't miss
engine,
the
no-
turbo engine. Nope. That
Yeah, I
PS4
don't miss
Pro,
that. Ooh, and
The
gosh,
PS4 Boeing edition.
Yeah.
yeah.
And I was playing for Honor, mind you. The game doesn't even require that much, but hey, I guess it was so intense with all the fighting mechanics. All you hear is fans in the
Yeah, I
background
don't-
like, dude, is your fan on? I'm like, nah, that's my PlayStation.
It's PlayStation, man. Like this thing about to blow up. My wife was always scared. Like, what's going on? What's that noise? I'm like, it's just the game. It's just the game.
It was not that pretty, but I'm glad they fixed that in this one.
Yeah.
Sony did do well on that with the schematics and how they wanted to go about building the PS5, and I'm impressed with it. So I'm pretty happy they finally got the features out. They finally followed the competitors and got that 1440. They got the game files now. Man, I love that thing. I hate that I can't put it on the home screen, but at least I can go into my settings on my game section.
Rudix.
Everything's
It
organized.
is. What's up? What's up?
I literally have
Yeah,
my AC category, Final Fantasy category, shooter category, all of it.
Yeah, I got that as well. Yeah, Sony still has some pain points that I hope that they fix. With their system and everything like that.
Game
But they
invites,
have
that'd be nice.
the game invite system is just crazy. It's seamless, but it's just crazy. It's just weird. It's just like it's confusing.
It
It's
doesn't work
confusing.
well. I'll put it like that.
Work in
'cause
progress.
I put it like this. When I turned on the Xbox, just to bring up a quick point, I would normally just go on the party chat and select my people, invite to game. That was it. As well, whatever I was playing, it would get the invite to it, and they're done. With PlayStation, they have that button that says invite to a game, but then they only give you a specific list of what games can be invited to. I don't get that. I'm not sure why that's a thing, but then you try it and it doesn't work as well. And when you try to do it within the game's menus, sometimes your friends list don't pop up, and it's just acting up and being weird. So I'm hoping PlayStation can get that sorted out and fixed because they've done a tremendous job with the clips, the media edits and everything, the sharing, how it uploads to your phone. They've done incredible with the managements, the UIs. They've done incredible with the additions for the party chats and everything. But as long as they can fix that invite system, I'd be pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
It feels like PlayStation has some work to do on the community system, where Xbox is well on the way of nailing that part. The community features in PlayStation 5 does need a bit of work. There's another crazy idea we actually talked about in the chat. It was like super crazy, but concerning actually Zuckerberg from Facebook. And that is like, I haven't seen anything pointing at him doing anything, but we know that he's fully committed. He wants to create a metaverse. Although I think his approach was not ideal. He's trying to retool Facebook and Meta and put all the resources for the metaverse, but the investors are not too happy because they got a product on their hand that's generating a lot of revenue and wants to shift it over in a different direction that they don't know if the public will buy into. And if you ask like just surveys online, people have very little interest in the metaverse, but pretty much similar to when smartphone came out. You were asking random people in the street if they wanted a smartphone. Most people were like, I don't even know what it is. What would I do with that? Like showing like the Palm OS or whatever back in the days.
Mm.
So Sony did say they want to turn Sony Entertainment into a metaverse company. It is their focus. They want to go forward. And not too long ago, there was a rumor that's been spinning around that Zuckerberg might be ousted from Facebook because of his metaverse ambitions. Now, he might not be the best to work towards gaming per se and toward a bunch of stuff, but he did build the biggest social media platform in the world and make it a success. The guy has talents. He might not be the most appreciated guy around, but he knows what he's doing when talking about social media algorithms and having like a platform running to get people to participate in it. Now he's dead focused on creating a metaverse, and we know that if he's ousted from Facebook, it's not the kind of guy that will just go retire and sit on a beach. That kind of guy doesn't have a brain tune like that. What if he was to actually join Sony that made a statement that fits what he's been saying? And like whenever he's gonna get out of Facebook, he's gonna get a shit ton of money. They owe him a lot. He built the company from the ground up. He could become a major investor in that endeavor, position himself, assist in making the social platform a bit more engaging on Sony's side and build something that's actually very interesting. I would personally see that as a possibility. Like, I would not be surprised if there's talks and they announced that he's in as a consultant and helping, like, setting up a team to overhaul the whole Sony social infrastructure.
I mean, it could be a possibility, but the thing is with these new ventures, just like Stadia, for example, people don't know how it's going to come about. They did a demo, a little test release, and they saw it wasn't going the way they wanted to because, again, they didn't invest that much money into it. They didn't talk to the developers. They didn't actually bring it up or anything. They didn't try. They didn't spend the money. It's not cheap. People are spending millions, billions just to be in this industry, in the gaming world. With Zach and the whole metaverse and everything with Sony, it could be a possibility, but they need a test platform. And Sony would be great for that, especially with their entertainment, their IPs, everything they have on board. It's just they got to have a running product to demonstrate and show what the metaverse can be. What can it be used for? How it can be a newer evolution of social media interactive, in a sense. How people can utilize it on an everyday basis. Because right now, I've seen so many articles with metaverses and people utilizing it, but not for the right reasons, but it's kind of funny. I don't know if you guys saw an article where someone's at a strip club, and apparently it could be a guy, and they're making these avatars, and they're making like, what, 100,000, 6 figures? I'm like, why don't I do that? Let me make my avatar real quick, guys. Go in the metaverse.
The metaverse isn't fully fleshed out yet. If you want to talk about a metaverse, the closest we have of a popular metaverse that's actually working well is Fortnite. And Fortnite still isn't a metaverse yet, even though Tim Sweeney did fully state that it was his ambition to turn Fortnite into a metaverse game. It is the most successful iteration we've seen of a metaverse, but it's not there yet.
Tell you what, PlayStation Home.
Yeah, no one knows what it is and can explain it in a way where consumers understand it and where they can really profit off of that. And so right now, and there's just so much just being thrown at it with, cryptocurrency going up and down and all of these different things. It'll be a little whiles before Web 3.0 is actually a sustainable type of market where people are making profit out of it. So right now it's just a bunch of trial and error. Let's see what sticks. Let's see what works. Let's try out VR. Let's try out some some metaverse games to see how we can tie. It's just a bunch of ideas that people are putting together. Some's going to stick and land, and then they got to continue to build on that as well. So the whole thing with Facebook or Meta is that like DrSpaceman said, they didn't really talk to the developers. They didn't really have a full plan. It's just really like, we know Web 3 is coming. We need to do something, but
they wanted to be first
no
without planning out something.
I would say PlayStation Home would be the best example for Sony. I mean, imagine going back to that, because that was something ahead of its time. I fell in love with that thing.
Oh, Doc will be ecstatic. Doc will definitely be ecstatic if they make a PlayStation. I don't know if you guys did this,
but I would go to the movie theater that was built into the PlayStation Home. And at that time, people were sick, whatever. You couldn't be with your friends at school. We were literally going on PS3, go to PlayStation Home, and just watch movies built into the game itself, like a virtual theater. Then you had the bowling alleys, you had the mini games, you had your homes, your parties, everything. That's what a metaverse can be, is interacting with your friends in like a real-time basis. And PlayStation Home can be the perfect platform for that if Zuckerberg decides to get into that, since he does have the money, he does have the knowledge, he does know what to do. Yep, there it is.
Yep, there it is.
It could be a hidden Easter egg symbol right there. They could be giving a hint, like, "Hey, we might bring it back."
Right, and they probably will, man. But places they have a part of the metaverse with the VR stuff going on. Even doing the rewards, having the collectibles. Yeah, it's not an NFT. Yeah, it's not a crypto thing, but it's still a digital reward, similar to what PlayStation Home did. And so I'm pretty sure they'll figure out something. I mean, I think Bungie has a lot to help them, guide them in that when it comes to having a metaverse type platform and expanding on what PlayStation is capable of.
For me, I just see Bungie utilized for the live service games more than the metaverse possibilities, because they have the structure based down for the microtransaction portions to build in that revenue for them for all those games they release, especially on the mobile side. Because I know Bungie might be doing the Destiny mobile version of it. Who knows? Imagine Sony gets a profit off of that as well, since it is under their umbrella now. So that's what they're aiming towards. Sony is always going to be about the gaming, but the metaverse is something as a side project until it comes into fruition, where people can actually utilize it. Everyone knows what it is. It's laid out. There's a foundation for it, and it becomes like a casual thing moving forward.
But that's what you said, Brian. Like right there, how Bungie is known for doing those live service transactions. That's what you need in the metaverse. Like essentially, that's what people are going to want to do. What's up, Rock? That's essentially what they're going to want to do. They want to buy whatever's in the metaverse, whatever's in the storefront, and Bungie can help them like map.
Well, if they can transition that knowledge to that section, by all means, then it can be great.
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
What's happening right now is with the latest acquisitions, some of them are strategically to reinforce some of the points they've been lacking. So Bungie, you've mentioned, is the live service game element that PlayStation has always been struggling with. And also one of the big ones I'm looking at, I've been following for a while, it's actually Haven Studios in Montreal, which we know it's
from Jade.
So it's literally Stadia Games and Entertainment that they shut down the studio. She picked her top 32 or 33 talents she had part of SG&E, and she brought the assets, the actual games they were working at SG&E. She grabbed all of that, and they moved to a different office and kept on working with that personnel. And she came in with a deal already signed from PlayStation for an exclusive game. Now they're part of PlayStation. But I was reading a bunch of articles following what's happening with Haven, some of them in French. Well, I'm French Canadian. It's my language. And they have released a few articles there in Montreal and some French newspaper interviews of how things have been doing. so I've been reading in both French and English. And when they first started the studio before the acquisition, Mark Cerny just did a few conference call with him, just see okay what they were working on, and he was quickly intrigued and actually went to visit him a bunch of times to see what's going on there. And when he saw, because they still have the cloud game, the cloud native project that they're working on, it was their objective to do a cloud native game. It's still what they're working on for the PS5. And Mark Cerny was highly intrigued, and when he got more hands-on on what they were working, it's like, okay, you guys have to go visit the other studios we have around, like Guerrilla Studio and like all of our studios we have. You guys have to share that knowledge with them, to share like how you're working with that, because this is where we want PlayStation to go. So Haven has a humongous impact on where we're going to see PlayStation headed within a few years. So they're acting as consultant for modernizing the whole studios to have the cloud infrastructure, so anyone can just work from home, no problem. Having the resources basically easily available for all the employees, but also they're like last year, their game was already over 1 terabyte in size, approximately once all compressed. So it is a cloud native game. You won't be able to install that game on your PS5. And so it's a lot of very interesting stuff they're working on. Sony told them, pitch us 3 projects. Like, we know you guys have been working for a while on one particular project, but we want to see 3 different projects laid out on the table. You guys try to sell us those projects, and we'll choose one of them. They laid out the 3 projects. Sony, okay, we're paying already for 2. We absolutely want those 2 projects. And the third one, we might also finance it. So they were impressed by everything they offered. And like it's going to be a very big name for PlayStation in the future. Haven Studios, they really fell in love with what they were doing. So once they reveal whatever they're working on, I think it's going to turn some serious heads.
Well, it's supposed to be an MMO, so imagine if you're saying if it's that size of a project they're working on, and it being an MMO, they're probably looking, again, Final Fantasy as an example, because it does make so much in revenue. If Sony has their own version of that, especially with Haven and how much they're investing in cloud, they can see a way to make all that income for them to utilize again towards any other projects they want. They have a lot going on for them. They have anime, they have the Spider-Man IPs that they're working with. They have Insomniac becoming the superhero genres, basically, with Wolverine and Spider-Man 2 coming up. Can't wait for that. I mean, they have all these other studios with solid like vets that's been in the gaming industry for years working on these projects, and everyone's like, oh, PlayStation has no games coming up next year, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, they do. Sony just has their way of being like, here you go, last minute, which is what's probably going to happen at the next event. They're going to show what they have in their hand for next year.
The Last of Us multiplayer game, I wouldn't be surprised if it comes out with barely a bit of footage out.
Yeah,
And they drop that as a surprise. It's the kind of thing
it could be a day and date.
Be...
Because it is free, apparently. So
yeah, it would be day and date on PS5 and on PC, and maybe even in the cloud. So yeah,
and probably could do a PlayStation Plus like perk added to it as well. Because again, people are paying for premium, and they might get something out of it. And if they give them like skins or weapons or whatnot, that'd be a huge boost for them.
Absolutely. Okay, there's 2 things I wanted to talk about. One thing, but you brought me up to another I wanted to talk after. But first, when do you think we'll have PlayStation Plus, whatever one you have, bleed over to PC gaming?
I want to say by next year, just because everything's starting to line up and they finally have their porting system going on, because that's why they hired, what was the team? Can't think of it on top of my head right now. But they're
not next.
Nexus.
I think
Yeah,
it's like Nexus
Nexus.
or something. They're the ones who are finally got everything on board. They have their whole game plan. They made everything easy to port now, and they're doing it like pretty quickly. Even for what Spider-Man 2 just came out recently, Miles Morales, not the actual Spider-Man 2, but Miles Morales. They ported it pretty quickly. They added all the bells and whistles for PC gaming, and everyone loves it. They're making mods. They're putting John Wick for some reason as a mod for Spider-Man. I mean, everyone's having fun with it. So I can definitely see that being one of those perks by next year. Everything's going to be day
Sony's
and date with
making
PC.
tons of money with that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Their sales numbers
Tons
are
of
up there.
money. Because the PC market is the big market.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the other thing I wanted to talk about is the fact that Rock's mentioning that Sony have no day-and-date cloud titles. Not in
You
their
missed the
first party
earlier
line.
You missed the earlier conversation.
If they could have this cloud for day-and-date releases, they can clean up. That's the thing. Day and date for their first party, I don't think it's going to happen at least for a
No.
while. Maybe some minor titles, but not big ones. Maybe like you were mentioning, like the multiplayer service games, most likely might be in a cloud day and date. But the big God of War games, the big Last of Us story games, that will likely not be day and date in the subscription for a very long time.
But he's talking
if
about cloud
ever.
native, so that's different. For cloud native games, I could see those being on day and date because, again, Sony doesn't want to risk the anger of fan bases, not knowing how well it's going to perform on the cloud. And they're going to pay
Here's the
$70
thing.
per game, and then, boom, doesn't work out well.
Here's the thing, though. Currently, we're talking about the cloud as just the subscription games. But we know Xbox is working on bringing their library to the cloud. And
Yeah.
PlayStation working on a cloud native game. If it's not a free-to-play game that's thematically on the cloud platform available to all subscribers, because they'll want to have people who are not subscribing to PlayStation Plus most likely access that game as well.
Yeah.
So it's very likely that the current iteration of the app, the PlayStation Plus app that used to be PlayStation Now, is just there in the meantime that they finish up fixing the new platform they want to make. I don't think that app is going to stick around for long. I would not even be surprised if we still have it only because of the CMA investigation and Sony doesn't want to unveil what they have planned. Because I do feel like they've been slowing down some of their improvements because of what's going on there with Activision Blizzard acquisition by Microsoft. So I do think that we are slated for soon getting a brand new PC app that will provide at least a better UI for your cloud games, maybe some PC installs for games, and maybe even eventually getting access to your library in the cloud that's not necessarily part of the subscription. So it might still require the subscription in order to pay it in the cloud because pay the infrastructure and everything to have it running. But like if you bought a title that's not part of PlayStation Plus Premium, like a day and date title coming out, supported in the cloud, you buy it through the app, you pay your $70, and day and date you can play it on PC even if you have a crappy or if you have like one of those Chromebook PCs that are tuned for cloud gaming, for example. So that might be in the books for the future. We'll have to see. But I do feel like that PC app is going to go.
Yeah, that's a possibility because, again, Xbox is doing that already. And, again, competition is going to force their hand, and they're going to work on that. But like you mentioned, because of this whole deal with Activision Blizzard and all the stuff being leaked and them playing sissy fights and she said, this, and that, going back and forth, they're being quiet because they don't want to ruin what they have going on behind closed doors. So who knows, by next year they can announce all these surprises with the cloud infrastructure that they've been working on, and then boom, their numbers are going to go up for PlayStation Plus so they can utilize the infrastructure. People can play their games that they paid for, access to the whole library. Again, their PlayStation app already has one of the best managements that I've seen. You can literally do everything from the app. Even remote play works wonders. So JD,
Yeah.
thank you for not telling me about it. With the mobile
I
data,
told you.
I had to look on YouTube. But
I
it
told
works.
you
app
about it
is
so many
fantastic.
times. I know.
The
I
mobile
love
app
that
is
thing.
fantastic.
Yeah,
I
it's
love it.
awesome. It's awesome, man.
That works
It
perfectly well. I'm
it's
telling you right now.
Yeah.
seriously, the mobile app does everything your PS5 can do except play the games.
Well, if you
You
have the
can
remote
join
play,
like
Well, you have remote play.
it
yeah,
works.
you have remote play, but I mean like
Mobile data,
like you
it
can
works.
join like let's say you're playing Fortnite with
Mhm.
and you don't have a PlayStation, you're playing on PC or you're on your Switch or whatever, and you don't have a PlayStation. But all your friends, like you got like 3 friends that are playing on PlayStation,
Mhm.
and for some reason they don't want, like I'm saying Fortnite, but they don't want to use the in-game game chat. They want to use the
You can use
PlayStation
the party
game
chat.
chat. You
You can
install
use
the app, you create a PlayStation account, it costs nothing, and you can join their gaming party while you're playing
Yep.
on another platform.
Yeah,
It still works.
yeah, you can
Yep.
do it with the remote play. I've tried it.
Yeah,
Actually
you can
works.
do. Yeah, you can do a role play. Even in the app, you can join parties. You can share the screen. If
Mhm.
Shadow was playing his game and he wanted to share it with me, I could actually see it all through the app, all through the mobile app,
Yeah.
as well. As far as like just the cloud, Sony's business for the PlayStation, they want to make those hardware sales as much as we talk about, like
Sales growth.
hardware sales
They're leading in that.
will drop off in all this other things, and they're making a loss. They're doing research, they're doing R&D. They did all this stuff. They want to return on investments on all the research that they did to make a PlayStation 5, and so they're going to want the sales for the hardware. So it's just anything with cloud or anything extra, and it's all good. I wish, and I do understand like an app, like just a streaming app where
Yep.
like you said, where I can just buy if I don't have a PlayStation. But realistically, as a business, they're going to all their whole plan, their game plan is to let other people that don't have a PlayStation test out some PlayStation games and bring them in and have them buy a system, have them buy a hardware, have them buy PS5 or PSVR 2, and that's the game plan. Yes, they can cash a rider net, throw out everything additional, everything companion, but their main focus is to get those subscribers, get those subs, get these people to actually pay for the hardware and get them sucked into the ecosystem, and that's what it is.
But I'm pretty sure it's you, JD, that sent me an article that Sony was actually getting some shipments over overseas, and those shipment containers actually have like AMD Epic like server processors. Like it's the basically the server blades that AMD is producing, and AMD Epic. If you haven't seen like especially the Zen 4 generation that just came out, it
Yep.
is powerful. Those things are insane. They're really there's a lot of torque in them for loading pretty much whatever is required out of them.
Yep.
And we know that we it's hard to find that information. PlayStation is very secretive about how they're doing their stuff. But the cloud gaming, we know that it's hosted on Azure, but it's not loaded on Azure though. Like that deal they have with Microsoft, it's not like xCloud. Okay, it's well, actually, xCloud is not even on Azure itself. It's on the Xbox server blades. But PlayStation have their own hardware, their own tech that they're using for the cloud gaming, and it's not Xbox, it's not Microsoft, sorry, that's providing that hardware to load that. PlayStation have their own hardware, and it is hard to find that information because again they're being super secretive about how that work. But basically, if you want to compare it to your console, it's like place you have your PS5, you have your TV, The PS5 is what's loading the game, and that belongs to PlayStation. And your TV is whatever device you're playing on, which right now is, if you're playing the cloud, you're limited to PS4, PS5, and your PC, Windows PC. And Microsoft with the Azure hosting is pretty much the HDMI cord. Nothing more than that. They're not
Yeah.
loading the game. They're not running the performance. What they're doing is taking whatever PlayStation on their own server blades are loading up and routing it to your location. And you're doing a cloud gaming on Azure for basically the route of that it's taking.
Is
So the
routing
servers,
through Azure to the server blades, which will probably be more than likely Genkai what they brought out and
yeah,
on live. I don't see PlayStation really spending that much money to not still use what they invested in for cloud gaming, and it's probably just updated from obviously since they had it and since PlayStation Now has been transformed. I'm assuming it's just an updated version of Genkai service, and it's just routing through Azure.
mhm. But it's
Yeah.
been, in my experience, been performing extremely well. Like even on the PS5, I've been loading up some games and it looks native. It doesn't look like I'm playing the cloud. There's no like
It's a huge
pixelation
difference.
all over the place.
There's a huge difference from way back when I used it, and this is when it was
Oh yeah,
PS Now. I tried it one time when it came out. Looked horrible. Very pixelated.
Yeah,
A lot of lag,
yeah,
stuttering. Then I started using it recently because, as you know, PS3 games are only with the live, the streaming. And so I tried a few of them, no issues. They work perfectly fine, and that's working on the hardware. So again, I don't know, like you mentioned before, I don't know why that's not something that works on the Xbox's side. Again, there might be some miscommunications with their hardware and everything. But the web API and everything works perfectly fine. It looks a lot better. It's more crystal clear. But Sony's definitely doing a lot of investments on the cloud side. We just don't know about it.
they've been keeping up. It's the thing on the hardware side. PlayStation is dominating right now, but
Yeah,
they're preparing for the cloud to be a thing. But the thing is, if they're already dominating on their market, why would they guide their player base already on the next step if that step right now is still being extremely profitable? Right now, they're still in the early phase of the PS5 and
yeah,
they're still selling out like
it
hotcakes. Like
sells.
it's
yeah, yeah.
really, really selling well. I would not be surprised if within the next 2 years or within a year even, because there's going to be a lot of PS5 that are going to be shipped out very soon, and we're going to reach a level where we actually see PS5s on the shelves. It's already happening right now. Supply is starting to be matching the demand more and more, even though it's still hard to find them. You
Yeah, you
can
can't
find
find it in stores. It's
them.
impossible.
Well, it is possible more and more. Like the window to buy them online is a bit bigger now.
Oh, I haven't
Uh,
seen any in stores. Like I know I see a lot of like Series S's. Those are very common. The X is still like hit or miss. I'll probably see one or two.
mhm.
But then the PS5s, every time I go somewhere, it's empty or sold out, or people are lined up. Like a friend of mine, because I convinced him to finally get a PlayStation just for certain games. And he literally had to wake up at, I think, like 9 in the morning to get to the GameStop store by the time they opened, and there was already a line because they were
When
doing
I
like some event.
ordered my when I ordered my PS5 online for the Black Friday deal,
Hmm.
the day after, I went to the pharmacy and it was two on the shelf at the pharmacy.
Dang. I guess we
Oh
don't have that
man,
luck here on the
oh
East Coast.
man,
We can't
yeah,
find nothing.
yeah. I
It
have
is
not
gone.
seen a PlayStation in store. Whenever I go look for one, now I got mine, online, but yeah, I
Oh
have
yeah, I
not
did.
seen them.
It made
Yeah,
me laugh. Like, okay, now that I scored a purchase online, they're there. But it was still what I got online. The deal was still much better. And like, I think I paid less with more stuff than what it was. Like the pharmacy was the regular price. but the price I paid Black Friday deal, the console was cheaper than the regular price, and it came with a $50 gift card plus the official Sony controller charger. So and it came with God of War Ragnarok, so it was awesome deal.
No, yeah,
nice. Oh yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, pretty happy about it. So funny. But yeah, as long as PlayStation right now is performing so well on hardware side, it doesn't make sense for them to try to push their consumers towards the cloud. But I still think it won't be too long until they start rolling it out more and more.
Yeah.
And then eventually, once they feel like, okay, Xbox starting to grow too much in there, and there's more and more players getting involved, here's our plan. Let's go.
But it's always going to be supplemental, period. There's no replacing hardware. There's no placing local, never. Just like we had mentioned about the wireless and wired, it's hard to let go of that because we know it's going to perform better, always, 100%. But if we have the option, like Rock was mentioning, the option to play our games from our library at any time, because let's say we can't bring our PS5s or whatever, and I can just go on my phone, use the app, boom, play my games right there.
The thing about a wireless, though, is there's some new Wi-Fi protocols that are coming. I know there's Wi-Fi
6E,
and I think 6E, and we're already talking about Wi-Fi 7. And that's still early. I think there's always some hardware out for Wi-Fi 7, but it's extremely, extremely limited.
The thing is, we don't even have the capability of utilizing that to its fullest potential, though. From the consumer standpoint, the most I get for speeds is 1 gigabit per second or 1.2.
Yeah.
And I have had my own gear because I have Xfinity. I got the Orbi system, and it's a Wi-Fi 6. I didn't get the 6E model, but that's because I already spent like $700-800 for the equipment, and I'm not going to spend another just to have a slightly extended bandwidth. Basically, it's just your extending HOV lanes in a sense. You have more lanes. So it doesn't really make much of a difference for me because I can still have 30 devices connected, utilize everything, manage it all from my stuff, from the app I have, and it works perfectly fine. And that brings me to the whole cat cables. Everyone's always buying the latest cat cables like it's going to do something. It's not. Can you future-proof? You can say that to make yourself feel better, but at the end of the day, even when people come out as a repair technician, like if someone comes to install the internet for you, they're going to give you the standard 6E cable or maybe a 7, if that. They don't give you anything else because there's no point. You're not going to gain any benefit from it.
Right. It seemed like we was talking earlier, the people
getting
playing
these
for
systems, and they don't have the hardware for it.
Right. Don't have the hardware for it. It's made no sense. It's the same scenario in a sense where we're always going to have these extra stuff for gaming that will make it accessible and make it open for more people to come in and join and play and do all these great things, or even develop a game off of cloud. That's awesome. To develop a metaverse game, that's awesome. A VR game, those are all awesome things. But you're right. But until the whole industry as a whole and just the countries the world as a whole are developing essentially in that platform, that is the norm. Web 3.0 is the norm. We are building apps, we are in it, our computers are programmed for Web 3.0. Everything is just in that whole thing. The world is running on that system. Everything else is just in addition, a complementary to that. And until things changes, I believe we're still going to have the hardware. We're still going to have PlayStation 6, 7, whatever, and until the actual whole world changes dynamically around the capabilities of what's possible. Because you got to think, the game developers, go back to the conversation we had about developers developing with too many systems. The developers has to be comfortable in developing everything in cloud everything in the metaverse, everything has to work. All the components have to work. The Wi-Fi has to work, the streaming, the structure, like everybody has to have access to that. And for all of this stuff to really work out, to say, okay, we no longer need hardware in a sense, because it is proven, we have proven that the world is running on strictly software and Wi-Fi. Like that's everybody's in there.
What if by the time the PS6 comes out, like release date, PS6 is out, PlayStation at the same time gives you the equivalent in terms of power performance in the cloud. Maybe there might be some slight differences of okay, it won't do 8K and whatever
latency
performance, but you're still playing at 4K and latency. Like if you've been playing like a GFN 3080, latency is pretty much like you can't notice it.
No.
I can't. It's very minimal. PlayStation Cloud right now is already pretty good with latency, and give it a few years, it'll be like pinpoint perfect. Like the latency will be gone. So by the time that the PlayStation 6 comes out, if PlayStation's like, okay, anyone subscribed with PlayStation Plus Premium has a PS6 equivalent in the cloud, now you have the option. You can try to line up, find a console, PS6, that will be sold out like that, or you can have exactly the same experience in the cloud, maybe with a limitation of, okay, you get 4K 120 FPS, and while the console might be able to push more, but that's if you really want that. But then you end up having the same experience. So if you have a poor infrastructure, like you're out in the country and the internet's not so good, whatever, you're not able to get that good of connection, then the console is a no-brainer. You're going to go for it. But if you're close to a city, if you have like fiber, you have good internet infrastructure, you could try to chase for a console, or you actually use the cloud and you get a very similar experience, at least until the console is available on hand. It might be enough for you. Like out of your PS5, you might be able to run your PS6 performance running really well. Like we've seen the Xbox One running Xbox Series X games in the cloud. At least they want to do that. Well, with PS5, you might be able to get pretty clean PS6 performance in the cloud while the console is being sold for those who really need it because they don't have the infrastructure. It might actually alleviate those supply problems.
Well, it's good to, it's always good to have options. I'm never like if you throw me some options, I'm good with it as a consumer. Like, let me make a decision. Like you said, maybe I don't have the infrastructure, so I need the console, or maybe I do have the infrastructure and I want to go to cloud. Like, you can throw me that, but I'm just saying as a business making money, trying to maximize their profits, most things have to line up with the world in order to capitalize. In order for Sony, I would say, to say, let's get rid of local hardware. That's what I'm talking about. Like, let's completely get rid of local hardware, and just have like you said, like a stream box, like just a streaming console, where it's just taken in.
Just even your PS5, once they release a PS6, your PS5 it's got like machine learning in it. It's got good networking hardware. That would work as well. So
that could. It's just, yeah, we don't know.
we don't know. But
it's just a thing with the world. Like I said, most of the time when the world does something, when all the world, like, it's kind of like MP3s and now we got, iPods, what, or what I'm talking about, CDs and MP3s. Yeah, iCloud. Like that whole transition, like the world has to, like, the tech has been there, it's already there, but it's a slow transition. Like the world has to catch up to it, and they have to figure out how to profit and get the artists their money and
Here's
all
the
this
thing,
stuff.
though. Stadia showed it can work. That's the only thing it did, at least. It showed it can work.
It showed that it could work. It just
And
needs the whole world
accessible
to
for people. Because people
right.
in Brazil or India or wherever the case may be, where countries they don't have that much income compared to others, they were able to play games. That's what it is about the end of the day. It's all about gaming, sharing that experience and that hobby with people, building a
Right.
community.
If you look, when the PS4 was out, they were still releasing PS2 games for people like in Brazil and those countries. You
Yep.
still get their soccer, aka football edition with the newest players. They were still releasing those on the PS2 because while the PS4 was out, a lot of people were still not able to afford a PS3. So income is not equal everywhere. There's a lot of countries that struggle with that. And
Exactly.
cloud is a very good solution for bringing up-to-date gaming to countries like that.
Oh
And
yeah,
that's why
of course.
Microsoft is expanding
Of
to
course.
those countries, as you've seen. They're expanding those xClouds to those countries, and they're happy about it because why? Now they have means to be able to play games without burning a hole in their pockets or trying to get money that they don't have. So this way, everyone
Right.
can just enjoy gaming like they always wanted to as a kid and move on from there. And that's what PlayStation is going after as well, because they see that
Right.
market and they're going to be slowly transitioning. So who knows? Maybe by next year, we might see a glimpse of that native cloud game from Haven Studios. We don't know. And if it is
Right.
what they've leaked about being an MMO, I'm excited for it. I mean, I love
Yeah,
MMOs.
same as
I would
well.
be happy as hell. I mean, who knows the possibilities, what they could have been for Stadia.
And without having PlayStation fully transitioned to cloud gaming as being their main platform, it can very well work hand in hand. And as an individual, getting the equivalent performance if you have the infrastructure for it, I would not be surprised to see that in not too long. That just as a single player, you get the whole experience that you would get with a PS5 in your browser, 4K, 120 FPS, working really smooth with power of those AMD Epic server blades. I can see that being a reality within the next few years, even before the PS6 comes out. So that as an individual, you can have that experience, even though as a whole, the company, PlayStation, will still use the console as their basis for going forward, where what they build their games on. So a lot of interesting stuff can happen there.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
Anyway, you guys good if we wrap this up?
Yeah.
Yep, I am good. I'm ready to eat.
Excellent. So, Brian, you mentioned you were doing some Twitch streams. So where can people find you? Social media and all that?
Social media on Twitter, it's just at B Silva Portugal. For Twitch, it's xShadowx 5353, I think. That's pretty much where I go through the PS5 native streaming because it works. I mean, it looks good, runs smooth. I have no issues, and it doesn't require me to have extra gear or equipment for it.
Yeah, I actually I mounted one on top of the other, but I got the
I saw
PlayStation
that.
camera.
Yeah, for sure.
It's pretty
Yep.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Works
Now we
really
can see
well.
the face cam.
You
Yeah, I don't want
see
to show
the
my
face
face.
cam when you-
Me
when you-
jumping
when
over
you do
here
it.
playing the game.
I
I was
think
jumping while
they
you're
actually
watching.
had. I think they actually had some modes in the places. I don't have my camera. I left it in storage, but I think it actually has some modes when you broadcast with that camera as well. Like they got
Mo-
different. You see when you set it up, Doc, that
Oh yeah,
like you had the cutouts, then you can make it like clear, black and white. Like they had a bunch of different like filters
Yep.
on the camera. A lot of different options. And
you can put filters. You can put different shapes. I'll actually show my little streams because you can put it like a circle or a diamond shape around you. No, wrong one. Oh, that's because it's my laptop. I'm not logged into there, but it won't be long. It actually wants to load.
And Share Factory is also underrated with all the stuff that they have in there.
Yeah, that's what I meant by the whole media clips and everything when they perfected it, because they had a huge update to it. And it was like a talking point for a lot of people that make content, that they can literally do everything in-house. And this is what I mean, that PlayStation is the equivalent to Apple. It just works. It's all in one ecosystem. You can utilize every software that PlayStation gives you.
Yeah, you should definitely fool around with the ShareMaker doc. It is crazy, especially with the new update. It is good for clips. I uploaded a clip real quick. I don't
I gotta do one for COD.
Clip.
Yep. I got
yeah,
one for
yeah,
COD.
I did one. Yeah.
2.7 KD.
But you can actually like push your music. Like if you have music on your freaking storage drive, you can actually upload it to Share Factory and add your own music on there, and even your own photos, like your own video and your own pictures. You can just take it off the USB and upload it to Share Factory.
See, if Share Factory allowed you to use the music from Spotify, which is already in PS5 as well, that would have been cool.
That's dope.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, so
that's my direct stream.
Yep.
I'll just advance to where there's actually gameplay footage, but that's one of the cutout that's native to the PlayStation.
Yeah. That's dope.
Yeah, the hexagon shape.
Yeah,
I like that.
So
yeah, he can.
I actually frame at that moment.
Oh, and he shows being dropped over here. That's nice.
He got dropped.
Ghost is over there to help him. He's like, I got you, bud. Don't worry.
Ghost always saves us. But yeah, the stream is super clean, even though right now it's not clean because the old laptop and
I can tell by that.
Right now, quality is impeccable, and the camera is awesome. You can select transparency and all. GD, when we're starting the Vets PlayStation podcast.
I saw him a thing on Twitter.
I've been pretty happy with direct streaming on PlayStation. It's very solid.
And it's only 1080. That's the crazy thing. But it looks super clean.
Yeah, 1080. You have to select, by default, PlayStation 5 goes with a 30 FPS streaming.
Oh, I did
you
60.
Have to change it to 60.
Yeah, I switched that immediately before it actually broadcasts.
JD just shared something in the private chat. What's that?
That's the thing that Vet was talking about. I just saw that on their blog, and I shouted out Vet like, Vet, when we gonna we missed the opportunity there. PlayStation Vets.
That's a PlayStation.
Man, they was just talking about how some veterans working at PlayStation.
That's pretty good.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's a nice logo, man. Vet, you should have been on top of this.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
All right. So, as for where we can find you, do you have any planned streams or anything like that?
For me, not at the moment. I might do some COD at one point. Depends when I have free time because of work, but definitely might show some Call of Duty, but having fun with that. Might even show some gameplay of Sword of the Vagrant just because a lot of indie games don't get a lot of love. And then definitely might do one for Final Fantasy Online just because I'm starting fresh and I'm having fun with the mage, and it's a learning curve to it because apparently you have to alternate between the ice and the fire for MP recovery because it's like a whole different system they have. But I'm definitely loving the game. It looks amazing. The story is fun. I'm excited for the new update because I've seen the graphical improvements. It won't be like Fortnite, but it's definitely impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. As for you, JD, where can we find you?
Oh man, you can find me here every Monday night with Dr. Spaceman and Brian, man, playing in the stars every Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Make sure y'all stay tuned. Check us out, man. And thank you for your support to everybody out there in the chat. You can also find me just streaming JD3-MXP Don't have a schedule yet, but just look for the notification live, and also catch me on Twitter. So I normally stream to YouTube or Twitch. So yeah.
Awesome. As for me, every Monday here, playing in the stars, new PlayStation podcast, and so happy to do that. Talking about PlayStation again, feels great. As for other streaming, so right now we're live on YouTube and Facebook Gaming, of course, for the podcast. And for streaming, if I'm streaming the PS5, it's going to be on Twitch with the direct stream, with the camera and everything, because it looks so good on Twitch.
Yep.
As for if I'm streaming, I will be streaming a bit more GFN. There is Marvel's Midnight Suns that I got on GFN. A lot of fun from what I tried up to now. So if I can get my PC fixed up, get some streaming done probably still on Facebook and YouTube. If not, I might have to use the NVIDIA Shield, and if that's the case, that's going to Twitch. But yeah, be sure to stick around social media. So at DrSpaceman Media, I always announce there when I go live. And that's about it. So thanks a lot, everyone, for joining us for this first episode. The picture of Playing in the Stars was a lot of fun. Many more to come. So on this, have a very good night, everyone. See you around.
Night, everybody. Peace.
All right. See you.